relax, enjoy some midday trading. Take it easy, guys.
Woo. Bang! What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That is your boy Joey Options right there. And I'm Sharif. And we got JC Finance in the house. Shout out to him. Shout out to Darwin, who's up apparently 5,000% on warrants, I think, for QUBT. So shout out to him. That's a hell of a look right there. We got a proper dang paradox and Fairchild. Shout out to Harris Walmsley and Phil Triple B. I got a story about Triple B. Maybe I can't share it on here. Miss Lucia and Ostentatious Production. Shout out to Jeremy Newman and Ezekiel. Shout out to Benson and Lionel Flores. Big Asians back in the house. Yes. It's always a good day when Big Asian is here. Patrick Riley and Fat Figure. Shout out to Cobra and Aaron Gardner. We got New Mexico Misfit, who's also back in the house. 2,000%. My bad. I said 5,000. My bad, Darwin. Drew P. Ball.
Oh.
You got me again, Joseph.
Dang.
Mella, we got Odyssey Fights. We got Yoko's Lair. We got Water Lover and Mike Bree. Shout out to Sarah Bradette, Barefoot Ivy Kenson. We got Vivek Ramaswamy. Is that you? AP Trader Double D 1000. We got Stuart Ronaldo, Woody. You got to look at some of these names in the chat, bro. I'm not reading that one.
I didn't
Shout out to my man, Big
man.
Spile. We got Patrick Riley, Dylan C, David Stewart. We got Aura Alpha and Jezzy El Problema. Connor Fresh joining us as well. Shout out to the Soul Queen. We see you, girl. We got Quadruple K, not the other kind of Ks. Quadruple K on Escape Planet. Shout out to Odyssey Fights. They almost got me, Odyssey. They kind of did, you know. I'm just gonna give them that. I don't really mind being taken. It doesn't make me feel any less person. It's funny.
No, yeah, it's funny. It's funny stuff. But I'll tell you one thing, guys. Neil said sit back and relax, but we're not doing any of that today. We're action packed. This morning we got the energy. What an absolute dumpster fire the market was yesterday. A bunch of fun stuff. But I think it was much in need. We were just continuing to go higher, and we mentioned time and time again, folks, we can't just go up forever. So sure enough, we got that much anticipated pullback, something that I was looking forward to. But Sharif,
sir,
we got Bitcoin just hovering above 100,000. I know some people in the room are adding to that position. I'm not going to mention any names, but he may be sitting beside me. So
did you, bro.
Yeah,
so did you.
I did too. It's funny. We added the exact same amount, which is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But Sharif, you know we got a hot lesson today, and I know you're going to want to touch on something before we get into it.
Joseph, we're just going to show them quickly the 8 small cap gappers, guys, that we got our eye on today. I've already set up a couple of dip trades. Omar, O-M-E-R. I'm looking at picking this up off the volume weighted average price. I like price action support and VWAP. PRFX, I should be in this right now. It's coming down to VWAP. I had a wicked trade on this in the sim in the morning. You guys know I trade on the sim in the morning live on the show. So PRFX, definitely keeping an eye on that. NVNI, another day, another halted at 190 right now. PNSL, also another good one, up 31%, coming off the highs into 5. I like this one off VWAP. And CDIO, guys, that's a holdover from yesterday. This one bored me to death yesterday. CDIO didn't do the curl that I looked for today. Moving a lot different, 30 pennies above that dollar. Hopefully we can capitalize. And last but not least, Joseph, GME, obviously I was yelling this one to Neil, and XHG. Those are the add-on watch.
Beautiful stuff there, as always. Sharif, Charmin Khan, Joe, I still don't understand options trading. That's totally fine, man. It's not the most simplistic thing. Get some, like, I guess, some, I don't want to say trades, but just get used to the overall market, do your studying, start messing around on the options chain, go back and watch the intro to options lessons, and then hopefully you'll get a little bit more of an understanding. But to grasp options right off the bat, not everybody does. I didn't, that's for sure. You need to put in that practice, you need to get that seat time, you need to read those books, and you need to do a lot of studying in order to grasp that. So that's totally fine, Charmin. Feel free to ask me any question that you have regarding options, and I will do my best to answer them. But guys, today, I mentioned this earlier in the week and last week, we're going to touch on some pivot points, all right? So these are the Camarilla pivot points, something that I utilize every morning on my train ride into the office, all right? So even when I'm doing my analysis on the weekend, everything is correlated with pivot points. As you guys can see from my charting platform here on P Pro, I really only have view up. And that was identical to what I was trading like at home, okay? So I literally only use Camarilla pivot points and the volume weighted average price. Those are my two indicators that I use, and we get it. There's a bunch of them, but you need to get comfortable finding what works for you. So here's another lesson on something that may potentially catch your eye. Sharif has those multiple indicators as well too. And the goal is to just kind of get familiar with something and something that maybe fits well with your trading personality. But this is something that I mentioned, as I just mentioned, I utilize every single day, all right? So I need to check my cams because this will help me determine what may happen in the overall market, guys. So let's get right into this one here, folks. Bang. If we could pull up my screen here, that would be fantastic because this is pivot. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but anything for Ram. Okay, guys, so this is pivot points here. So let's get right into this one because I think this is groundbreaking. And we're going to touch on a lot of kind of detailed stuff on this as well, too. So again, understanding Camarilla pivot points, this is just what we're going to go over. Then we got calculations, not something that you necessarily need to worry about. I know how to drive a car. I don't necessarily know how to build one, right? Ooh. So that's kind of how you want to look at, just know how to utilize the tool, right? You don't need to calculate this on your own because these calculations will be done for you. So then support and resistance, what R1 to R6 is and what S1 to S6 is as well. Those are our support and resistance pivot points, examples, and then we're going to go through some time frames. And then at the end, as usual, we're going to put everything together. So let's dive right in, guys, because we got some material to cover. All right, so Camarilla pivot points are a set of technical analysis tools used by traders to identify potential support and resistance levels in the market. This gives you the ability to provide precise entry and exit points, okay? Camarilla pivot points are similar to Fibonacci pivot points, but use a different calculation method that incorporates the previous day's highs, lows, and close prices, okay? Unlike Fibonacci pivot points, Camarilla pivot points are preset and recalculated each trading session and or month, okay? So that's one key metric, is that with the cams, there's no subjectivity to it, right? Everything is preset in the morning. So this is what traders use when you turn on your platform, whatever platform you have. Come 4 a.m., those new calculations on the Camarilla pivot points are set, okay? Always set. You cannot manipulate them whatsoever, and that is the beauty of them, where kind of Fibonacci is like you put them at a low, or so there's a little bit of subjectivity to that, all right, guys? So keep that in mind. So as I mentioned before, calculations, pivot points are calculated by previous close, highs, and lows. Focus on understanding how to utilize the tool and not worry about the calculation, for they are a preset indicator. So this is just the basic calculation. If you're curious on what it looks like, that's just for one of the resistance and support levels. You don't need to jot this down, but everything else, I highly suggest you jot down, okay? So and I just want to touch on this before we continue with the lesson, is that I like writing this stuff down, but I'm more of a visual learner, so I like to go through examples as well too, because that's how I learn things. I know when I was learning options, Charmaine, I would read the book and be like, okay, well, I don't even know what theta, IV, and all this stuff means. But then once I start to get the visual of things and start messing around on the options chain, understanding delta, it helps me a lot more. So we'll go through kind of just this general understanding of what it is, and then we'll get into the examples, obviously. All right, so support and resistance levels, understanding S1 to S6 and R1 to R6 will help determine where potential pivots in price action may occur. The lower the number, the less support the pivot or resistance may provide. As the SNR levels increase, that can indicate the stronger support or resistance found in the underlying asset. All right, so for example, support 1 and resistance 1, the first pivot level can indicate minor support and resistance, right? So not too much weight is held onto S1. So S3, the third pivot, can often be considered a significant level of support and resistance, okay? So as we're gradually increasing in the support and resistance levels, the stronger those levels can come into play. So support and resistance 4, the fourth pivot is the most common pivot used in the Camarilla system. They can indicate key levels of rejections and breakouts. S4 can indicate a very strong support and resistance structure. Okay, so those are the two pivots that we are going to focus on. I just want you to focus on a couple pivots. S4 and R4 are what we're really going to be looking at and how price reacts around those specific levels. Okay, so just keep that in mind, folks. So how to use Camarilla pivots. So traders use Camarilla pivot points to identify potential reversal points in the market, as I mentioned before. Here are some common strategies. So for breakout trading, if the price opens up on top of the S4 or R4 levels, it can indicate a strong trend in that direction. Traders may enter positions in the direction of the breakout, expecting the trend to continue. All right, so breakdown trading. When the price opens up below S4 and R4 levels, traders look for signs of a reversal. So this is exactly what we're going to do. And if you guys DM me on Twitter, or sorry, X, I can send you guys a cheat sheet as well too. It's just how they're structured and where to expect the bounces. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through some live examples from the previous sessions that we had. So I guess they're not live, but something that I just screen recorded from 2 days ago, all right? So let's keep that in mind. So guys, as I mentioned before, so when we trade into S4, so we open up above the support 4 level, expect the stock, in most scenarios, it doesn't work all the time, is that when we trade into S4, so price opens up above, you get the open here, and the S4 level is below, you can expect price to bounce off of these S4 levels. Are they 100% accurate all the time? No. This is a general of like kind of where should I be looking for a potential reversal in price? And then it doesn't give you a when, but why? And it's because, hey, we're sitting around S4, so you get the when and the why, okay? So sitting there, as you can see, we open up here, we trade into the support 4 level, right, S4, and then we have the inability to hold that level, to hold that support level, and then we bounce off of it, okay? So we traded into S4, and then that's when we expect the bounce. And as you can see here, this is previous day close. Previous day close will always kind of act as a central pivot, as you notice, all right? So I just want us to focus on S4 and R4 for now. So when we open up above S4, expect price to bounce off of it once it trades into it, okay? So again, the exact same example going into IBIT from just a couple of days ago, we open up below R4, we have the inability to sit on top of R4, and then sure enough, we reject and then go right into PDC again, previous day close, as some would like to determine, the king of all levels, all right? So there we go, we open up below R4, trade above it, have the inability to hold, and then sure enough is when you get that rejection right into PDC. So you can look for an S4 bounce into PDC or an R4 rejection into PDC. So that can be your general price target, okay? So now here's Tesla. And you can say, well, Joe, look at here, Tesla opened up below R4, but then bounced and then traded above R4 and then broke out. This is a perfect example here, all right, folks? So as you can see, we opened up below. We traded almost to the penny. I didn't put that there, almost to the penny R4, and then sure enough, rejects into this level here. And then once it hit that PDC level, that central pivot level, it then bounces off it, putting in that indecision candle, then trading on top of R4, holding R4, and then into that breakout territory. Now, this may seem slightly confusing, but if you have these preset levels on your chart for an extended period of time, you're going to be able to tell where price action may pivot. All right, so you just need to get familiar. It has a lot to do with seed time, but you can see the correlation between the S4 and the R4 levels, all right? So again, now we're gonna zoom out a little bit, and now this is a daily chart, but with monthly Camarilla pivots. So as you can see, let's go over a couple R4 and S4 breakups and breakdowns. So as you guys can see here on the month in Google, right? We opened up below R4 for the month, and then we traded higher into R4, and then rejected right back to that level. So this is something that when I'm creating spreads, I want to know, hey, are we sitting above R4 or below R4? Are we still in potential breakout territory or are we not, okay? So keep that in mind. This is just an example. And then you can see the S4 bounces as well too. A beautiful S4 bounce on Google. Just keep that in mind. And then when we get extended, Off of S6, we get a little bit of a bounce too, but we're just focusing on S4 and R4 because those are the key pivots that I utilize, okay? So just keep in mind, they're not 1,000% accurate, but when you understand the correlation of price and what price is doing around these key levels, this is a fantastic indicator, and these are preset. I didn't put these on myself. These were preset levels, and sure enough, they're highly respected, all right? So here's another example here, folks. Same thing with Apple. Let's go over to here. Even though we open up the month below R4, we trade into the key support S4 levels just above S3, but we hold S4 really well, and then we continue that breakout, sitting on top of R4 again, and then that breakout continues. And then as we get near dated, you can see the exact same thing. We hold R4 to a T, and then continue the breakout on top of this level. And sure enough, once you're really extended and you hit those S6 and R6 levels, look for rejection, and that is exactly what happened yesterday, all right, guys? So again, NVDA, the darling, this thing's driving me nuts lately, Sharif, but we like it.
Likewise.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, another example of it holding R4 to a T. I did not draw these. This is how it is, and it's like, wow, these are highly respected levels. So there you go. We open up below R4, trade above it, have the inability to hold that R4 level, and then we reject and then head back into that central pivot level, all right? And the exact same thing here. You can see a beautiful S4 bounce on NVDA. We open up above S4 and then we trade into it, creating a bounce to a higher level again, and then just rejecting slightly above R4, all right? So these take a little bit of time to understand, but the more you watch them, the higher the correlation you'll see in those pivots. When I'm looking for a reversal or a breakout, I'm looking for R4 and S4 levels to determine, hey, are we gonna break up or break down? And then it's just a matter of timing those positions, all right? So now, putting everything all together, a lot of information to indulge here, but guys, let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Make sure you put them in the chat, but this is just what I do in the morning, all right? So run your morning pre-market analysis and select which underlying asset best fits your trading criteria or your system, all right? Determine which zone the underlying you are analyzing is in, okay? So where are we? In a breakup zone or a breakdown zone? Scan through the monthly and intraday pivot levels. Determine if you are in a breakout or breakdown zone. Monitor the open and overall sentiment of the underlying and the overall market, okay? Wait for precise entry and exit levels when key pivot levels come into play. So when price tells you, hey, this might be a good signal for you to play the S4 breakdown, then look to get an entry off that. And then the exact same thing, if you're looking to play an R4 breakup, wait for an entry, wait for price to sit on top of R4, give you that confirmation that we might head northeast, and then you can base an entry, and then you hit profit targets post that, guys, all right? So that is the lesson of the day, folks, bang. So hopefully
That's a heavy one right there.
Yeah, it's a heavy one. It's a heavy one there.
Like heavy as in good.
Yeah, real heavy. Yeah, no, we're not burdened. We're not officially unburdened. But no, it's good stuff there, guys. Yeah, I know.
It's never gonna get old, bro.
It's never. But yeah, guys.
I'm burdened by what has been.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm not.
Like,
I sleep well at night.
Thinking about it.
I sleep well.
It has been. So I'm unburdened.
Yeah.
by
So
it.
there's
the whole thing.
There's no point in getting our feet muddy digging up the past, is there? Exactly. So
I don't like it either.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, let me know if you have any questions. I said, as I mentioned before, DM me on X, and I'll send you a cheat sheet of the potential bounce and rejection areas. All right, guys. Yeah, so I'm at TraderTV Joseph. There we go. Bang. Hit me up. There we go. On X, baby. So yeah, hit me up on there. I'll send you guys that cheat sheet if you DM me. And yeah, any questions, make sure you throw them in the chat. Sharif, what do you got going on? That was a longer lesson there, so yeah, fire it up there.
Yeah. We're doing, we did quite well over here, dude. Almost $2 in the money at one point over here on PRFX volume weighted average dang price. I was waiting at that $10 area. Look, I didn't get my $2 print, so I'm long 10.17. I put my last beak wetter at 12.17. Look, it crossed. It went all the way up to 12.25, but we know how these bad boys act. You gotta cross on both the bid and the ask to get that big boy fill. And right now I'm a little concerned whether I'm gonna get that fill. So we're still $1, I guess 50 or something in the money. But here's the situation: we've got an unbroken kind of pattern of lower highs on PRFX. So despite the fact that you were able to get that VWAP bounce, you still haven't changed that downward pattern, this bull flag kind of pattern where it's just lower high, lower high, lower high. I'm trying to pack my patience now that I'm seeing also higher lows. So that's the other side of the coin. So we got that 988, it looks like, dip and pop. And the subsequent candle after that with a higher low, and then each subsequent candle does have a higher low. I'm talking about PRFX. It's up a light 417%. It's not a big deal. So yeah, trade this one obviously with caution. As we always stress, these small cap gappers, they're around for a good time, but not necessarily a long time. And that means you should be using sound stop methodology. You should also be using profit takers, resting profit takers, because they don't spend all that long in any one price zone. So if you want to wet your beak on some profits, you probably should. Where the hell did I put this car?
What, do you want a beak wetter there?
Beak wetter, yeah, there it is.
I got you, my guy.
I know, man. I appreciate you, bro. But that's the situation. Resting profit takers is a methodology I always employ with these small cap gappers. Next one, about $1 from here. Either I get stopped out for the remaining amount or I get the print. So it's going to be one or the other. The other trade I'm in right now, we have a couple of outs. This one not as forthcoming as PRFX. I'm talking about PSNL. Another big boy mover on the day. It's up a light 30%. Same situation with PRFX as I see on PSNL. What's that situation, you ask? Nobody asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Volume weighted average dang price dip.
Dang.
So we're waiting here. We got in Joseph at VWAP. A couple of outs already waiting for that next out. You know where I'm waiting, man. If we're in the 60s, you know where I'm waiting.
You know where we're waiting.
I'm waiting at 69, Joseph. So we're going to wait up there, come what may, to see if we get the fill. We're printing 67s right now on the ask. 66 on the bid. Not much of a concern with respect to spread, or as much of a concern, I should say, excuse me, with respect to spread on PSNL as we do with PRFX. But, you know, that could change in a hot minute already. As I wax poetic about it, a 3-penny spread just opened up. So keeping my eye out on this one. Don't want it to go against me. We're still not that far away from my entry price for me to get all that comfortable. Now, here's the situation with PRFX. It's coming down. We're still kind of locked in with that lower high pattern. We can't seem to break it. Now, I was doing a little bit of tape watching. It looks like there is a seller of note who's moving down with the price. Last time I saw him, because I had to watch both different stocks, he was hanging out at 1170s. That was over here. Now, obviously, we're well below 11, so we'll have to see if the selling continues to move down with the price action right now, trying to reclaim 11. I'm packing my patience on these ones. I had an ill-fated trade, a very quick in and out trade with Omar. We lost about 5 pennies on this one. Look, this one was also, just like the other two, volume-weighted average price. It was an entry into VWAP. This one's more spready, so I had to have a bit of a tighter stop because I didn't want to give back too much. So that's the situation right now we find ourselves in. I'm still watching Omar because it's up 58, 57.5%. It has dropped below VWAP though. So for me to get long on this one, again, it will have to reclaim the volume weighted average price. Otherwise, I want no smoke. You saw what happened the other day when I took a long below VWAP. I got stopped out, and that was one of the things that drives me crazy. Stop breaking your rules, right? The rules are there for a reason. I heard OB say today, and I've been echoing that sentiment myself. I'm going to stick to my rules today. We're not going to take anything north, long that is, south of the volume weighted average price. So I hope everybody can follow along. So keeping an eye here on Omar to see if it wants to reclaim VWAP. Keeping an eye on PRFX. It's still putting in lower highs. And I'm also keeping an eye on the trade that I'm really got the most on right now, which is PSNL. Now, I want to mention, I haven't weaseled in to CDIO, but this one is setting up awfully well as well. Yeah, I didn't, kind of redundant, but the whole point is area resistance. We drop, we pop. Now, the question, does this area, previous area of resistance right here, now act as support right here now that we've cleared it? We'll have to wait and see. I don't need to be first. I'd rather get in at a good price. Possibly, I'd wet my beak maybe $1.20. If it really wants to drop down, $1.18. Currently trading at $1.24, but still putting in lower highs. CDIO interests me, but it's going to have to set up in the right way for me to weasel in, Joseph.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, Shreve. We got some good questions in the chat.
Hey.
Phony Baloney. Joe, is trading options safer and less screen time required than using stocks? Well, that's a fantastic question. Is it safer in some metrics? It can be. There's no doubt about that. But it also can be extremely dangerous when you start selling options, all right? So keep that in mind. The debit spread, a bull call spread, or a bull put spread is essentially one of the safest trades that you can put on because you cannot lose more than what you paid for, all right? So if you pay $2 on a debit spread, that's $200 in options terms, then that's the max you can lose, but you also have a fixed profit. But once you start selling options, then that's, excuse me, is when you can get into some dangerous waters, some shark waters on that front, especially shorting calls. You can have some tough times because I've been there and I can speak for that, all right? Now, does it require more screen time? For me, I've been trading for over 2 years before I started to dive into the options, all right? So just keep that in mind. I wanted to understand, I didn't know I knew about options, but I didn't understand them. And then once a lot of my peers started to utilize them, and that was around 1.5 to 2 years into my trading endeavor, is when I really dove into the options game because I needed to expand my knowledge on that front. But again, I think first you want to get the equities front down pat. I know some people do it in reverse. They start with options and then move forward. But just my general knowledge on the equities front is what helped me kind of make options trading significantly easier, all right? So just keep that in mind. There's pros and cons to options trading without a question on that front. There's no doubt about it, guys. It can be extremely dangerous, but at the same time, if you utilize the right strategies, because we know with options, there's multiple strategies that it can be extremely safe too, right? So the bull put, not bull put, sorry, a bull call spread and a bear put spread are one of the safest trades that you can put, or just flat out buying the contracts itself. But once you get into the selling realm of options, that's when the sharks start to swim around. And yeah, it is danger. Joe is danger is Joe's middle name, exactly. Woo-hoo! Call me Danger, but yeah. But again, I just mentioned there's pros and cons to each one of them. They can be extremely safe, but it depends on how you utilize them. Now, guys, let's get into some AMD. I'm watching NVDA here kind of just rip without me, and it's slightly frustrating, but that's okay because we're in some AMD here. Let's see if we can continue on that path and we get a little bit of a recovery. Down all the way to 121 bucks. This thing continuously to be beaten to a pulp. Same with IWM as well too, guys. So let's see what we can if we can slowly start to recover here on AMD. I expect this. I was saying this to a couple people in the chat. If you're buying AMD down here, then you might look like a genius. But after yesterday's session, you might be taking a heavy hit, and that's the tough part of this game. So it's not ready to recover just yet, but I think eventually it will. Someone has to finish second place, and I don't know if it's going to be Broadcom or AMD, but somebody is going to finish there. So let's see if AMD can kind of turn things around here and then maybe start to continue. We know that they got some funding not too long ago, or some investments, yesterday, I believe. About 330 million around those neck of the woods. So let's see if that can continue in today's strength. But let's take a look at NVDA, the King of Kings here, continuing to move higher. And we were talking about this, Shreve. This thing is look at this. This is the ultimate liquidity grab here. Like, this is the mega liquidity grab. As you can see, we break up here through VWAP, and then boom, just sell all the way down. Grab some liquidity on the lows, just absolutely eliminate all these potential stops here, and then it decides it wants to rip higher, just blowing past the pre-market highs and continuing on that northeast trajectory. So that's NVDA continuing to trade higher, and we need NVDA to start participating in order for this market to recover, because look at the walloping that the Qs took yesterday. It was like it was in the ring with me for a couple of hours there, Sharif, because just an absolute monstrous down. But let's see where we finished down on the session. Yeah, about just a little over 4% on the day. But rightfully so. I was kind of expecting that. I didn't think the market was going to go any higher. how much are we going to crawl higher without any form of correction or retracement? And then sure enough, all it needed was a little a spark to ignite the flame. And sure enough, we have that massive, massive sell-off day, guys. So just keep that in mind. But the poll is up, folks. So make sure you get those votes in for the afternoon rundown with Sharif. Sharif, what did you vote for today?
I voted for PRFX. You want to know why, Joseph?
Please.
Because it's officially a two-banger now. Bang! We take it out at 12.17. Sorry, I got a little excited there. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, we got in 10.17. Joseph took out 12.17. We're done with this trade. I wish I had held on for a bit more so I could have taken it out at higher levels, but sucks to be me. You're always mad as a trader. We're going to look to set up again, but now this one is changing its tune, right? So we were talking about the consistently lower highs that it had been putting in, whether you were charting off the wicks or the closing prints, it was the same look. There were lower highs. Now, we've broken that lower high, and now we're actually pumping in some higher lows. So we're doing that rounded bottom, that curling effect. Shout out to the spiled one, big Spile Burdett. He likes rounded bottoms. He doesn't like small cap gappers, but he likes rounded bottoms. So we're gonna look to weasel back into this, Joseph. The matter of where, though, I'm thinking possibly $11 for this higher low type situation, maybe $11.50. We shall see. Shout out to my main man, Adam DeLuce. Shout out to Tilster. Execute on the one. I like that. He was asking me, look, are you using your, when the volatility picks up, are you using the 5 minute? Are you using the 1 minute? I told him, look, I chart on the 5 and the 15, and I execute on the 1. It's just a personal preference. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule anybody really needs to follow. Do you? Odyssey Fights, any knowledge of NWBO. Shout out to Nessa. I appreciate you, Nessa. I get excited. NBWO. Let's have a look at that. NBWO. What is this? Oh. NWBO. My mistake. NWBO. Correction. Let's have a look. What is the situation with NWBO? If it'll load, maybe. That would be nice. Joseph was complaining about this platform earlier, and I kind of echo that sentiment sometimes. Well, look, this is not a good-looking chart. You know, just let's call a spade a spade. It's down and to the right. It's sub $1, and on the day, it's done 1.66 million shares, but it's only 26 pennies. So right away, from an intraday perspective, I don't like it. It's low on volume. It doesn't have a catalyst either today. What does this company do? Northwestern Biotherapeutics. They're involved in. They're a biotech company, obviously focused in developing personal immune therapies for cancer. You love that kind of objective. You just hope that, you know, they're honest about it. So that's what they're basically into, immune system to attack their cancer. Okay, so look, these ones, from my understanding, and I don't know too much about biotech, that kind of situation, these are, I don't want to call them lottery tickets, but you know, when they hit, they do really well. Otherwise, it's a toss-up. And I'm not intelligent enough to be able to make an assessment with respect to the signs, so I can only look at the technicals. And the technicals here, they just don't look good. Ram, if we can show the chart, they don't look good. NWBO, let me just add that ticker in there for you guys to follow along. Does not look good, down and to the right. It hasn't been changing its tune at all. I mean, there's lower lows, lower highs, and there isn't a shift. It's below the 50 exponential moving average, which is the red line on the chart there, and it has not been able to break and hold above it. So intraday, I don't like it. Long term, I don't like it. I'm sorry. I don't know if that was the answer you were looking for, but yeah, that's really all I got to say about that. PSNL, Joseph, we're still whiffling and waffling above the volume weighted average price. I was able to take out some at 70 there. We're long 56. Not the biggest winner ever. Next beak wetter, profit taker, that is, in case you're new to the show, I'm waiting at 75. So we'll see exactly what the situation pans out there to be. This one did have a better spread. I mean, it was 1 penny at times. Now we're opening up into 4. I don't like that, especially on a $4 name. That ain't the move. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the volume here as the volume does drop off. Now, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about, the spread is the difference between the ask and the bid. And a quick cursory search on Google will explain what the ask and the bid is. And that's the cost of doing business. So what does that mean? So say I was to punch in 100 shares and I punched in at 465. And there's a 5 penny spread. So the ask is at 465, the bid's at 460. Say I just want to get out. immediately, the second I got in. It's going to cost me 5 cents a share for 100 shares just to get in and get out at the exact same time. And so you really want to be careful with that, because it is the cost of doing business and you need to factor that in. Also, it does make a difference with respect to your profit takers. If you're hanging out at a level, let's say I'm hanging out at 475, the bid has to cross above 475 for me to get filled. Doesn't matter if the ask does. You'll always hear me complain, oh, the ask is on the bid's not crossing. That's kind of what I'm complaining about there, right? And so we'll keep an eye out on that. I'm involved in a third trade as well. It goes by the ticker CDIO. Like, look, I've got baby shares on here. I've got another dip trade planned, dollar cost average to front run the volume weighted average price. I'm putting it at 119, excuse me. I see VWAP at 118 currently. It looks like it might print me here at 28s, but I'd rather get filled for more size before taking out some there at $1.28. So we're going to keep out an eye on that. That's the only situation I've got right now, but I hear you guys yelling about the dead one. Apple, baby. Apple back up 1.33%. It got shellacked yesterday. And I didn't really understand the whole sell-off, but, you know, I'm not really that intelligent, so that's all right. We'll leave that for the more intelligent people to figure out. But I felt, you know, the fact that they were not going to cut 4 times next year and rather 2, that's more bullish in my humble submission, and I made that point clear yesterday. If the economy is growing, there's less of an incentive to cut because people are going to have money, and they're going to want to spend that money, and by spending, it becomes inflationary by default. So I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. If we get bought up today back into the closing print on Apple, I would just be very happy. Well, where is that closing print, Joseph? Well, around 252, so we're about 50, 60 pennies away from it. Go, Apple, go. About 1.5% right now, looking at taking out possibly that 252 incoming. Now, the support on Apple, or sorry, the resistance on Apple, here's what I see. Yesterday in the pre-market, we had a bit of a low over here at around 251.50 to around 252. So we're on our way up right now, 251.69. We could certainly encounter resistance at that area. Also, the monster, NVIDIA, 3.75%, and it didn't even get shellacked that bad. It got bought up a little bit after that 126.5 dip and pop. It ended up moving all the way back into the 50 exponential on the 5, right at that 131.50. It's broken the pre-market high above 133, 132.75, and it's on its way to 134. The strength is coming into some of these names. Amazon put some dang respect on that one as well, up 2.5%, Joseph, after it also got shellacked. It's got to get all the way back up to 230, though, to account for yesterday's kind of consolidation range. So we'll keep an eye, obviously, on these small cap gappers, as we always do. And we'll keep an eye on the MEG because, I mean, the MEG are just in play today. So that's the situation, Joe.
Yeah, good stuff there. Yeah, NVDA just...
I know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I know how I feel. Yeah, we're not going to let it get to us. You know what I mean, folks? We're just going to play it cool. Yeah, Kyle Burdett. $2 super chat. I'm not going to read that one. But we like that. We like the $2 super chat, Kyle. Thank you for that one, my guy. As always, not the same without you. Yeah, wild, man. Well, he's working away in the shop. But guys, we got back into some AMD. I'm not absolutely thrilled about the entry. I should have got in a little bit earlier, but that's fine. We'll deal with this. If we can break this high, then maybe we can continue to the northeast. Loving it. I know a bunch of people wanted us to talk about BA today because we are slowly starting to recover. And sure enough, I mean, it's a company that essentially has next to no competition other than Airbus itself, and still can't get out of its own way sometimes. So again, I think it's only a matter of time until this thing recovers. I just wanted to zoom out there. But really bouncing off that bottom. We haven't really looked back since. They have that new CEO in place as well, too, I believe, right? Is that correct, Sharif?
Pardon me?
The new CEO of Boeing. He's working.
Orberg?
Yeah, Kelly Orberg. There we go.
The guy that Adara was in love with.
Oh, yeah?
Remember that?
No,
you weren't around for that.
No, I don't think I guess.
Yeah, it was so funny. It got announced like just a midday. Mm-hmm. He's like, okay, you know, the new incoming CEO. They're gonna kick that Calhoun guy.
See you later.
So we pulled up the guy, and Adara likes to do a deep dive into everything. Such is her character, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, why is he so young? Why does he look like that?
Yeah,
and she's like panicking. We're like, you okay?
It's okay, man.
on,
She
bro?
gotta get it. Investigative journalist to the fullest. There's no doubt about that. But guys, 30% off those lows there. Boeing continuing to trade nicer, putting in another monster session. Doesn't look like it was overly affected by yesterday's sell-off there on JP. And that's another thing. I'm really confused because if this was a hawkish 25 basis point cut. So for Bitcoin, isn't that it's it's like deflationary, I guess I should say. So why did it sell off if that's the case? If you're worried about inflation, why are you selling something off that is deflation? It doesn't make too much sense in my books. So again, yeah, it's just controlled. Now I think with the ETFs coming in, now Wall Street has a little bit more power over the apparent whatever decentralized one. All right, so guys. Happy birthday, Brendo. Is it Brendo's birthday?
No.
Why is it? Oh, does he?
Brendo doesn't like anybody knowing what his birthday
all right,
is,
that's
bro.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So yeah, no, I don't know. Captain Physics. So yeah, way to give us some false news there on that
whose
one.
birthday is coming up, though?
Whose is it? Neelage.
He's right there.
Oh, when is it?
Oh, it's on Christmas.
Is it actually?
It's December 26th.
Boxing Day.
Yeah,
Hey,
let's go. I
Boxing
knew it was
Day.
around Christmas. I knew for a fact it was around Christmas.
Yeah.
That's the easiest birthday to remember.
Okay.
My man, his birthday's
Great
coming
man, he's
up.
coming to birthday, so
6
we're
days,
gonna
7 days, maybe
throw
1 week to today.
throw a rager for that one there. We'll get it going with the boys there. But yeah, continuing about the overall market here, folks. A little bit of a choppy one this far. We again trading in that range. I mentioned this multiple times. Even though before we hit that 2 o'clock hour on the rate decision, it was just an absolute choppy mess. And sure enough, that volatility just came absolutely roaring in, and then we dumped really aggressively down about 4%, a little over 4% on the Qs when we ended the session. Again, we're not really quite recovering, but we are somewhat. At least it's not another aggressive selling session. So let's see what can happen with the overall market. I mean, with NVDA continuing to climb higher and as well as Apple too, I wouldn't be surprised if the overall market starts to follow as well. I haven't looked at too many of the other mega caps. Let's see what Meta's up to here, folks. Again, just another little bit of a choppy mess. Sometimes the market needs to breathe, especially after an aggressive session like that. Maybe sellers are exhausted and then they need a little bit of a break, accumulate some more shares before they decide they want to distribute in whatever direction that they are going to. Dear Oil, I am late at the party but observing the Qs today. Curious to know your interpretation of the 2 bottom wicks on H1 candle. Could a rally start over again? What's H1 candle? I'm not too sure. Oh, the 1 hour candle? Yeah, I'll take a look at that for you. There's no doubt about it. I don't usually use the hourly, to be honest. I'm a 5 minute, 1 minute, and daily type individual. But whoa, okay. Dear Oil, I really like this. Thanks for pointing this out. Unfortunately, we don't have the isolated volume signature, but this can be a potential pivot signal. Oh, Ollie, sorry. Yeah, okay, thanks. I thought it was Dear Oil. All right, anyways, dyslexia fully kicking in there. Okay, but yeah, guys, no, this is a nice pivot here potentially. So, Ollie, let's see if this holds. If you're looking to base a trade off this, you have a nice out. The RVR may not be there right now, but if you can catch a pullback on the bottom of the range, and if we breach this, then then this thesis is therefore invalid. So again, keep in mind, this is a good potential bounce. I like this from an hourly time frame. Let's see if we can continue and recover some of the losses that we endured yesterday on yesterday's session. Sharif, what do you got going on there?
Okay, so we're weaseling into PBM small size over here because you know my disinclination to punch in at highs, but this is really going. Looks, I don't know how you see this, Tisha, but I'm seeing a seller in the low to mid 30s. Here it is again. They got taken out. Now let's see if can we move up through 40s. So we're at mid 30s right now. PBM. This is moving up big right now. It's up 233%. I've set up a DCA at around 5. I can give this realistically to 480 because that's where we whiffled and waffled. So I'd like it to hold above this previous red candle here on the 1. I wouldn't mind getting DCA'd. Here we go. Seller at 40. We rejected 40. Can we take them out? It's a hidden seller right there. Here we go. 45s. Bang. Took it out. Let's see now if we can move up again. I'm going to set up at 55s up here. So let's see if we can weasel on up into that level. I'm still going to leave my DCA as is at 5. This is really going, but it is getting extended right now on the 5-minute away from the 10 exponential moving average. Again, I use that as an informal gauge of overbought and oversold conditions on these small cap gappers. So let's see if we can take a little bit over here to de-risk some more. Let's see, now here comes that $0.50, seller at the $0.50. There is size at 50 pennies, but I'll submit to you, it's likely an iceberg there because there was not enough posted at the 50 penny level to prevent the ascension of this stock above the $0.50. So packing my patience, 550 right now, HODANG on PBM. I am. There's just so many tickers. Here we go, 50 again. Can we take out 50? Still zigging, Joseph. Still zagging. I can't even look at the what's it called? The information on this one, like the float, short flow, stuff like that, because I have to keep my eye out on this one.
All right, I got you. What's the ticker there, my guy?
PBM on the NQ. Zigging right now, coming down into my level. Here we go. Did I get filled? I did. Okay, so now we're going to give this one to 480s. So we're going to go ahead like that, and then we're going to get set up a little bit like this. Okay, so I'm going to send it to you, Joseph, because I have to manage this position.
Yeah, no doubt about that, Sharif. Just to give you a little bit of a PBM, we got a $4 million market cap. Wow, okay, not that large, and it is a biomedical stock, all right? So Canadian one, Canada-based company which develops natural psilocybin products for the
psilocybin.
Yeah,
say less, baby. Where's Kevin O'Leary at?
Psilocybin products for the healing of psychological trauma and its mental health consequences in the context of whatever's going. Yeah, we'll take it over there. Why? What'd she say to you, man?
She's getting all excited, bro. She's like hitting the bang. It's like calm down a little bit, man.
Bang, bang, bang.
It's just because she loves us.
Okay, but yeah, okay, good move on. Okay, so someone asked me about AMD here. Question for Joseph. It says, should I buy some AMD? I think it said leaps. I kind of lost the question. Options. Would you give an AMD options for next year and what strike price? Yeah, bang. Let's get into this because I'm into some AMD right now. I mentioned about accumulating some shares, but when you're going to go onto the options front, you want to make sure that this thing is going to turn around because we don't want Theta to chew up the value of our contracts. If you are going for an options contract, you're definitely going to want to have this one a little bit longer dated, all right? So you're going to want to look for that leap on this one. At least 365 days. So you're going to pay a pretty price for this, all right? So keep that in mind. As of right now, I don't know, like if you're looking to kind of allocate this into your portfolio, you want to kind of break up the amount of capital that you're going to want to put into this position, divide it by 4, divide it by 5 or whatever. Don't go all in at once, but slowly start to build that position. But from an options perspective, because time is always working against us, we need to be a little more precise on this entry. So let price start to turn around. Let's get some positive quarters, some good catalysts under Advanced Micro Devices name. Once we start to turn around, then maybe look to go for that longer dated options. What strike? I'm going to go with the at the money. If you're looking for something quick and then you want that volatility increases when you go out the money, but again, when you're going out the money like that, you really need that options contract to work fast. You need that underlying asset to move really quick. Otherwise, that extrinsic value, the time value is going to be chewed up. But I think, bang, what do you got going on there?
You were having a good time, Joseph.
Yeah, why did you go like that? Why did you go like that?
No, I went like this.
All right.
I didn't do that this time. Hey. Okay, so we're doing well here. We just took out, okay, so here's the situation. Sorry to interrupt you, bro. We got in at 525 initially. I added on the dip into 505, and then I took some out, and then it was really going again. So I got in again at 5 1/4, and then you saw what it did. It jettisoned up 5 to 69. Now 585 HOD right now on PDANG-BM. Let's see if this one wants to zig and zag above 6. So now what's the situation? The previous low on the 5-minute candle sub 5, so I can't base it up on that. Look, I want to see what this does back at 5. If it comes back into 5, definitely be persuaded to get back into this, but it may not give me that 5. Up 266 and it's not stopping. The volume is increasing right now on PBM, and here's the situation. $4.75 million market cap, so minuscule essentially. 32 1/3 million shares traded on the day. That's lovely. 4.7 million share float. Here we go, 6. Wow, man, I'm sitting there reading about the float. I should be looking at this. There goes 6. Now 6 HOD right now, Joseph. It's up almost 300%. We're knocking the door of that 300% area. Now let me load up trade ideas. I need to find out what the short float is on this because it's moving like it might have a higher short float. It does not. 1.66% according to trade ideas. So this one, it's working. The volatility is coming from its small float. That's my best estimation. There goes 613 now, HOD, 300%. We knocked on the door of it. We're up 290 something right now. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I don't want to get in at these levels. It's going to have to slow down. I'm not going to punch in at highs again, Joseph. Don't want to give back the profits, but it looks like it's going to take 6 here. So keep your eye out on this one. Pumped. I love these small cap gappers. My man, what are you looking at?
Yeah, nuke, man. Again, that thing is crazy. Like, talk about going nuclear. Like,
intense.
Yeah, intense, man. I traded as high as 78, almost 80 bucks. Like, what? Over a couple of days? Like, man, that's insane, dude.
Nuke? Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Luis was talking about nuke today, man.
Yeah, like, absolutely $2 all the way to 80 bucks in 3 sessions is absolutely absurd. Talk about mega gamma squeeze on that front there, folks.
Hey.
Yeah, all the shorts getting squeezed out of that. Boom, Tisha Perkins, tell us, boom, what's
Get
the
it,
fire
Tisha.
for? Get it, Tisha. What did you cook up there? We want to know what you had going on because that's a lot of fire.
Trader, man.
She's a small cap trader. Okay, all right. So for Sharif's familiar, so obviously cooking up a mean storm there. Exactly, this is exactly what we like to see. Oh, my darling Tesla starting to pull back a little bit. But hey, man, we talked about this here. We talked about this potential topping signal, and all it needed was a catalyst in order for this thing to continue to sell. This run was absolutely amazing. There's no doubt about it. People are going to start taking profits. There's no doubt about that front whatsoever. This is totally fine. I'm not worried about this. I'm still bullish on Tesla. This is just regular market movement. Get used to it. If you're new to this game, excuse me, and you think that everything is just going to go up all the time, well, unfortunately, that's not the case, because if it was, then everybody would have just absolutely ridiculous amounts of money, and the game wouldn't work the way it is. But here, that's a good look on Tesla. Nice, healthy pullback. Let's see if we can continue to the downside, which I think we do. I don't know what we're going to get. I think we come and maybe test the 400s, and then maybe we can continue a little bit higher. But for the long term, for the next 4 years, as long as DJT is the president, I'm going to be bullish on Tesla. There's no doubt about that, and even probably post that as well too, guys. So continue to hold on to those Tesla shares. Just because we have a little bit of a one-off day, then it doesn't mean all hell is about to break loose, all right, folks? And I mentioned this, the small cap Sharif, interest rate sensitive. What a
100%.
walloping it took yesterday. There's no doubt about that. But even though you would think it'd be a little beneficial because they are cutting, so again, cuts are beneficial for the small caps, right? So we can get money inflowing into that aspect. So let's see if we can slowly turn around. Absolutely beautiful. Like, this thing was gapping up day after day, and I remember the price action here was absolutely insane. I remember, just for instance, I had a bear call spread on IWM, and I was bearish on it somewhere around here. And then literally at 3:59, I got stopped out of my bear call spread, which was absolutely good.
Okay,
yeah, I got stopped out, right? Because the next day it gapped up like $4 or $5. So that would have been a hefty loss. And it was like literally at 3:59 I got stopped out. And I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Someone was looking over my shoulders on that front. So thank you to the trading gods themselves for helping your boy out. But guys, yeah, continuing to hold on to this AMD. NVDA is starting to pull back here. Let's see if we can slowly start to turn things around. We're a little bit extended off the volume-weighted average price on NVDA. So, I mean, AMD didn't really participate in that really nice breakout on NVDA. So let's see if we can kind of be an outlier here and not be synchronized with NVDA. But again, up 3% on the session, putting in a stellar day thus far. Sharif, what do you got going on there?
I wanted to show you this.
Yeah, man. Show me up. Send me up, man.
I'll send it to Ram to show. Look at the picture of the baby.
Yeah, I know why.
It's Devin Haney.
Yeah, I know. Enjoying the holidays.
He's calling him his son.
Yeah.
So disrespectful. Ryan Garcia, anybody who watches boxing knows the rivalry between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Obviously, Ryan Garcia knocking out Devin Haney And well, after he got caught using PEDs, what PED was he
I don't
using?
even know what he was using, but yeah, he got
he was
caught.
using something.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
he said he didn't know
One of the
anything
most
about
common,
it, this,
yeah.
that, and the other.
Obviously, well, everybody who's using them doesn't know
Yeah.
it's tainted. Like Canelo with the tainted meat.
Oh yeah, that
Like, all right,
that
buddy, you're worth like a couple $100 million. Like you're buying tainted.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
that's the thing. If you're gonna make a couple $100 million on the fight and you have it in the contract that you can hold on to the money even if you get caught using PEDs.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's an incentive for a lot of people.
I think Devin Haney is trying to sue him for like battery or something like that, which is insane.
No, he is.
Yeah,
Devin
he
Haney
is. Yeah,
he's lost a lot of credibility in the community, though.
Devin Haney is a boring fighter, dude. I don't care what anybody says. But one thing we do got coming up this weekend, Sharif, is Tyson Fury and
Usyk.
Alexander Usyk himself.
It's Saudi.
Yeah.
What is
Saudi,
it? Is it Saudi season?
I think so. Yeah. So looking forward to that one. There's no doubt about that. And then Jake Paul. And then Thing is also in talks with Logan and Conor McGregor are in talks for a boxing fight as well too.
Hold on,
that
who?
could be Logan Paul and Conor McGregor.
That's gonna be a.
Notorious.
Oh wow.
Everybody wants
not
to say-
Jake, eh? Logan.
No, yeah, well, I don't think.
But
I don't
isn't
think.
Logan outweighing by like 20, 30
Yeah, he's a
pounds?
big dude. Yeah,
Logan's bigger than Jake.
big
isn't he?
dude. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
This is gonna be great, man.
Logan-
These YouTubers, bro, turning into boxers.
Logan's
different
got
world.
more sauce in him than a Big Mac, so there's, yeah, you know what I mean. So just keep that in mind. So those guys, yeah.
Big Spile. Sorry to interrupt you. Tesla, I said, what's the move? He's like short from 450, looking for 350. It's not going to drop $100, Big Spile.
That's what he said.
It's not going to drop $100. He wants a 350 profit taker.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, Big Spile. Maybe like for a swing, are you? Well, he does options, obviously, so maybe that is the move. Look, I don't agree with you, Big Spile, but hey, have at it, baby. No, seriously though, Kyle, where are you looking intraday? So is there a specific support level you're looking at intraday that we can work off? Let me know. I definitely don't mind jumping into a TSLL short, likely wouldn't trade TSLA on the day. But yeah, let me know, Big Spile. Shout out to you, my man. All right, here, PSNL. Doing real well on this one. We're long 54s. I'm waiting for my beak wetter at 80s. We're at 80 right now on the ask. We're not at 80 on the bid. So my example before, when I was talking about the spread, we got a 2 penny spread right now on the level 2, 3 penny on the level 1. So not really sure which one to look at there. In any event, I'm not getting filled. So I'm going to pack my patience, see if we can get that 80 bump and print over here on PSNL. We're long again 54s at the volume weighted average price. And bang! There we go. We'll take out that one. Thank you, Joseph. Let's set up over here. How many outs do we have? No, we got. We're going to set up at 88. Shout out to CD Lamb and the amazing Cowboys. I'm kidding, of course. Yeah, that's what we're going to say. We're going to wait at 88. Ram. I thought I'd get a reaction to you when I said Saudi season. You didn't even really hear me. Yeah, bro. Leave TikTok for a second, bro. Put down the phone, Ram. Leave the TikTok for after work or on the weekends like I do. Shout out to you. Shouldn't even have her phone, she said. All right, so shout out to Ram. Interesting levels here. Big Spile looking at 430. Okay, so that makes a whole lot more sense to me, Big Spile. Let's load up the Tesla chart, and I happen to agree wholeheartedly with that level. Now, here's the deal. That's where we bottomed out yesterday. No. The wicks do breach that. We got into 428 and change. I think 428's on the wicks. If you're looking at the closing prints, this candle was the lowest close. The lowest close there, 431. No, we got some 428 closes. Okay. So more like, I do agree with you, 430, the more predictable level, I should say, but you're going to have to give this one room, because if you were basing a 430 long yesterday, you could have made quite a bit of money moving back into 446, a $16 winner, but you would have had to give at least $1.50 worth of room if you were to enter at 430 on TSLA. So I like that look, Kyle. I like that look. I think it makes a lot of sense. We'll see if we can make a newer low. We certainly have a lower high. Technically, still an inside day for today for Tesla with higher lows and a lower high. Does it stay that way? We have a 431.40 low. And we don't have a change in trend. Every single area crest lower than its predecessor. Every single area trough, you guys get it, lower than its predecessor. I would say, for whatever reason, Tesla seems to be finding resistance at the 20 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. You had it over here initially at 10. You got it clean at 1050. You got a double top clean as you like at 1125 and 1130. You know how I like to trade? I like to get in on retracement. So I could absolutely be persuaded to get short at the 20 exponential. I wouldn't likely take TSLA. I'll take TSLL. And here it comes, 434. It's moving back up. Currently, the 20 exponential moving average on the 5 is 438 and 2/3. It probably won't be there if by the time the price action gets up. Again, the moving averages are dynamic. If you're going to base your entries and exits off the moving averages, make sure you're adjusting your price as they move as well. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Looks like we're going to get printed here on PSNL at 88s. I was just joking leaving it out there. Now we're at 88s on the ask, 87 on the bid. Oh, we didn't get printed. We got to send it to Neil. Neil's lesson of the day.
Welcome, everybody. We got a lesson of the day for you. And look, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you might have noticed something happened yesterday. Now, it's possible, sometimes you take a day off from the market or you're busy. We all got life things going on. Maybe you weren't around after 2 o'clock. I get it. Fair enough. But at least when you sat down, you probably noticed something was awry relative to the rest of the week. So, maybe you pulled up your NQ chart and we're like, hey man, what happened at 2 o'clock here? That's you need a little bit of a head scratcher. And when you have this type of a singular event, and you guys all know what I'm talking about, let's go right to the chart because I think you have to see the effect of this. When you have this type of an effect, and it doesn't, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter why we dropped this far. You can make all the arguments you want about, hey, we knew the quarter point cut was coming. They go from an expected 4 next year to 2. And I think a big deal that it's possible now there could be none. It could be 1, it could be none, based on what we see happen with inflation. Look, what really matters is when you have this big of a move to the downside, it's going to be a little bit more, A, difficult to day trade the following day because you're going to have spreads open up. And then B, you're suddenly going to be dealing with more symbols that have gapped or at new price areas, have big flat bottom breaks or big levels that they're bouncing off of. Like your list of these are the types of things I would look for to trade, it might be 5 times as large when you come in the next day. And that's not hyperbole. You're going to have to really find a way to narrow down what symbols you want to look at. So the lesson is one easy trick to give you at least some bias, like I'll like something long, I like something short, and what you can look for. Because as you could see, most of the session on that NASDAQ, yes, it was slightly trending down, but it's like you bounced off overnight lows, you didn't really test the top, and you were sort of diddling in the middle for most of the range. So you had this like wedge setup, which yes, while trending down, was diddling in the middle. So there should have been strong names and weak names. So all I want to point out is just divide some of the stocks into, before this event, this stock was incredibly strong, and it only dropped because of the market event. Before this, the stock was incredibly weak, and it continued to drop because of that event. And I think when you do something like that, you see some outliers. And there was actually a question we got that inspired this earlier, and I'm going to get to Zscaler in a second, but I'm going to start with Boeing. Because this is what the daily chart has looked like on Boeing, but a lot of things have been trending up recently on the daily. Nice trend, great. Well, what was this doing while the market was wedging and slightly trending down? And you can look at the ES for the NASDAQ, it's basically the same thing. Well, this was holding and consolidating and wedging at the top when all you know what broke loose, and it broke down. So this was it wasn't just a kind of strong. It wasn't a stock that was holding on to flat or barely green in a market that was slightly trending down. No, it was a strong stock before 2 o'clock. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't know for sure would it have dropped or would it not have dropped if the market had done nothing and gone flat. You don't know, but what you do know is it was strong. And if you had this in your I'm biased to the long side on the stock, you don't have to be in a long position, but suddenly it stands out for you. It stands out because it held on to some support on the 15-minute or on the daily, holding on to the upward trend, and it was already relatively strong. So while there's a million names out there that were gapping higher, this one probably fulfilled a bit of a unique tone to it. Now, you could make an argument that you liked NVIDIA for similar reasons. It was a relatively strong name, and lo and behold, at the open, after some tomfoolery, it ends up holding higher and being relatively strong relative to the market. So was strong relative to the market going into Fed and ends up strong coming out of it. Now, was it an easy trade? I don't think so. I think Boeing stands out more than NVIDIA, and I regret not looking at Boeing over NVIDIA. That's why it's a lesson of the day, because I learned this same thing today, that I should have been a little bit more discretionary. I like NVIDIA more, so I was staring at it to have an obvious setup long when Boeing really gave you a better one. But the reason for all this was because of viewer pointed out Zscaler. And what's beautiful about this, and it's even better, the market flushed. This is a stock which had already been pulling back off of its highs, right? So you have quadunk, let's call that a quadunk, into what level? $190. Spoiler alert, this matters later, everybody. Trend up to prior high, reject, trend back down. And what is it doing before 2 o'clock? It was trending all day down, and its wedge is not at the top, its wedge is at the bottom. Its consolidation is at the low, where it rejects. And that prior low, $190. Oh yeah, why did that matter? Go back to the 15-minute chart when I zoom this out. 190. Look what this does when it tests that 190 level. Now, if you identified Boeing as it's just a relatively strong stock, I want to put that on my list. It's obviously relatively strong. Look for long setups. You're golden. This is an obviously weak stock going into the Fed. The level at which it both falls from and bounced from earlier are both incredibly significant. Not only do you end up with really tight areas to trade around, but an obvious direction and a reason why it should follow through. Because this is a day 2 play after a flat bottom break in a downward trending stock. So I know there's like a million different chip names you could have traded today. There's a million different tech names that you could have traded today. Everything seemed to have a fantastic setup technically, or one that you could sink yourself into. What they didn't all have this morning was an obvious reason for a very specific bias and some areas to get in that are very simplistic. And if you can separate that on a day that's overwhelming, then you've done half your battle. Because half your battle isn't just where to trade in what direction, it's what to trade. What is the best vehicle? It doesn't matter that I liked the notion of NVIDIA long or like the notion of Tesla short. That's irrelevant. Zscaler was an easier short. Boeing was an easier long. So I shouldn't pat myself on the back because one of those other two won. What I should be doing is asking myself, did I make the optimal trade? I think answer, not necessarily true. I think I should have been looking Boeing long. And I didn't notice Zscaler. It's not really on my radar or my quote board, so I probably never would have found it. But shout out to the viewers that pointed it out to us there. But Boeing's on my quote board. Boeing's on the list of names I watch every single day. Heck, I literally bought Boeing in my personal account on the dip yesterday. I don't have an excuse for not being long that one. And that's why it's the lesson of the day today. Because when you observe something to be true, or when you notice something that stands out that could be a good idea, or that it could give you a bit of an edge, and you don't take advantage of it as a trader, that's the worst thing that you can possibly do. It's like making a right decision or making a good trade and not profiting from it. You knew what to look for. I knew I should be looking at Boeing long. Heck, I thought it was a bullish stock. And yet I didn't do it. And it gave you every sign that relative to everything we saw yesterday, it was relatively strong. So when everything was gapped up, you knew that regardless of that move in the futures in the afternoon, Boeing had been strong anyways. It already had the buyers winning. That's a good place to start. So you get a lot of information on these days after a Fed, or maybe like a market scare in a general sense, or maybe a big CPI number where you get these big, crazy reactionary days, like 3% down on the NASDAQ, 2.5% on the S&P. Do a little extra homework and find the more obvious trades out there for you. what was strong before so that when you look for strength the next day, you're in the right place. What was already weak? So if we continue, the sellers were already winning. It's low-hanging fruit, and that's why it's your lesson of the day.
Thank you very much, Neil, the knowledge dropper.
Knowledge dropper,
As
hot dropper.
eloquent always and informative. Thank you again. Every day around that noon hour, Neil Roberts drops his lesson of the day. Joseph,
yes.
I did weasel in another trade, quick as you like, on PBM, but I'm happy I got the hell out of this one because that was a
dodge.
Currently, that is the top. We're about $1 south of that level. Look, we haven't even touched the 10 exponential on the 5, and we have 2 topping tail candles. But like I've said before, I mean, these topping tail candles are not as decisive as when you see them on a large cap or a non-small cap gapper. Like if you had gotten everything out because of this topping tail candle, you know, you'd be regretting that. And the same situation, who knows if this one does the same thing. But I think that these ones give you an opportunity to get in. Like when we had this topping tail candle, we finished red on the subsequent 5-minute candle only to make yet another new high on the subsequent candle after that 12 p.m. candle, with the ultimate new high of the day coming in at 12:05. This could set up in the same way. This candle currently right now at 12:10 could set up in the same way as we did at 11:55. So if that's the situation, I want to keep my eye on it. What's more operative, though, is not the wick tops, but the higher lows, because it's showing buyer exuberance. We keep getting more exuberant, buying it up at higher and higher levels and not allowing it to come back down. Again, this hasn't touched the 10 exponential moving average since 1140, and it didn't give you that much time there. It just glanced by it and then rocketed up. That candle at 1140 is what I'm talking about right now. But Joseph.
Yes, sir.
The Playmaker poll is now active. Shout out to the Playmaker.
The PMP, baby.
Yeah, the PMP that we named this after Joseph. We are up currently, though, on the ES March contract, not December contract. We're up 0.46%.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit long.
You're hitting long.
I know
man.
you don't like when we hit long, but I'm hitting long.
I like it when you hit long.
All right. I like that even more. So we're about almost 100 votes right now, about 66 to 34 short. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And then at the end of this hour, right at 1 o'clock, we'll have a look and we'll do the Playmaker.
Yeah, we're going to do the Playmaker poll. We're going to document that trade. We're still positive, guys, but hey, you can see the grin on my face. I'm having fun with it. I think it's a good time. It's just what you want to do from a day-to-day basis, whether it be the Playmaker poll or for your own trading. So just document stuff like that, and then sure enough, you'll be able to establish your edge and your trading system, because that is what you need, essentially, to be successful in this. But guys, I just want to say thank you to all the people who DM'd me on X. Yeah, those kind words, they go a long way. There's no doubt about it. Except for Josh Allen. You just made it very bland. I'm not going to point you out like that. You said it's like the real Josh Allen, his name is, or something like that. Yeah.
Like
no, he's going to bang. No, he gave me the bang. He's going to need a bang on that. So, yeah. No, I'm only playing with you guys. Much appreciated. I sent you guys one over, so hopefully you guys can enjoy that and just go over it and then utilize that tool and see if that works for you. It may not. It may work for you. You may be drawn to it. But again, collect yourself a large enough sample set, kind of like we are doing with the Playmaker poll. Just sit there, analyze. If your platform gives you the ability to run past dates, then go and do that, run replay. Just get that saddle time, get that seat time, and then sure enough, you might be on your merry way. But guys, yeah, I'm glad that we got out of this AMD trade here because it broke VWAP, kind of just putting in, I wouldn't call it quite a double top, but we broke VWAP and now heading to the downside. I thought we were going to bull flag on NVDA, but sure enough, we broke the support system that was there and now heading back towards the south side. I wouldn't be surprised if we come around the 132 mark. If we can hold this level, this prior resistance, then maybe I'm going to look for a potential bounce on there. And we're starting to creep in on those levels. So let's see how price reacts to them. And if anybody has the Camarilla pivot points up on their charts, let me know where this is sitting. Let me know if this is this 134. Let me know where that's sitting on that Camarilla pivot system, and I'm sure enough it's going to be a highly correlated thing. Thinking smart, looking smart in the profile pic. Thanks, Adam. That was at my my old condo there Yeah, that was a good time me and my buddy had there. So shout out to him. I appreciate that. ADL, as always, my guy overseas. So, but yeah, guys, let me know if anybody has that up. Let me know where this is laying, because I bet you it's an interesting point in what we just went over. Adam, no, I don't have IG. I'm not a big social media guy, man. I had Snapchat, and then way back in the day, I think I deleted Facebook in like 2016 or something along those lines. Yeah, so it's been a while. And other than that, I've just had Snapchat. So yeah, never had Instagram or anything. Really? Yeah, I never had it. So actually, I shouldn't. I take that back. I downloaded Instagram one time, Sharif, because it was during COVID, and my cousin was having a gender reveal party, so I had to make an account so I could see the reveal because it was during COVID. But other than that, I didn't post anything.
Canceled that one.
Yeah, cancel that one real quick, guys. But yeah, the overall market is starting to pull back a little bit, and that's totally fine. Again, Sharif and I were talking off screen here. It's like, okay, it's really hard to turn off the sell program right away. Like, we're not going to immediately reversal. We're going to have to see some volume kind of step in on that front. But again, expect a little bit of exhaustion from the market. It was a hectic day, and we are starting to lead into the holidays. So again, this is totally justifiable price action. Not going to expect anything crazy unless we get some bombshell of a catalyst or something along those lines. So again, look to play these ranges here. If you're looking for the breakouts, they may not come unless that volume steps in. But again, just sit on your hands, be patient. Don't try to force anything or milk any stones on that front. All right, guys. So continue to let me know. Let's go over. We didn't really talk about the top volume scanner so far, and I don't know why I have some of these small caps up on here, Sharif. I might have adjusted something, but APCX has 180 million shares traded on the session. All right, and then RGTI with 111, and then NVDA sitting in third place with 108, and SoundHound finishing in the top 5 again with 105 million shares traded on the session. So again, nice volume there. And then we're going to take a look at some of the top performing sectors a little later after my guy Sharif tells us what he's cooking up.
Yeah, I'm just...
all right, yeah, I'll
no, I'm good.
All right, you're good.
Adam telling me Tesla low of day. There it is, guys. Here we go. TSLA getting shellacked today. And it's still not at yesterday's low. So we're still whiffling. Well, we're not whiffling. We're on the way down. Here, 430.15 LOD right now, but we do have, I'm going to say a 428 support. You know, excuse me. I'm more inclined to want to base something off 430, but the fact of the matter is the support was found at 428 and change yesterday. So we're still a couple of bucks away from that. Still technically an inside day. I didn't get my 20 exponential retracement this time around, Adam. It did kind of work its way back into the 10, which is the green solid line on the chart there. I was waiting for a 20 exponential retracement, but that may not be forthcoming. Maybe we get a 430 bounce. Maybe we get a 428 bounce. I'm going to be all eyes and ears. And I will load up TSLL on the trading screen here in order to work into that, if that's going to be the trade that I look for. So we'll keep tabs on Tesla. Tesla having itself a tough day today and selling off quite aggressively. I'm also keeping my eye here on PSNL, the last trade I've got on, and I'm quite disappointed. Because this did come into 88s, and I didn't get filled because it didn't cross. And then look what it did. Dropped 30 pennies. Now it's back at my entry. 54s, I'm long 56. Let's see if it bounces here. I'm not going to add at these levels. I don't mind adding if we hold up here on the current 5-minute candle, which has around 2 minutes left, and then the subsequent 5-minute candle makes a higher low and a higher high. I will be persuaded to add there. But right now, I'm just going to stay with what I've got. And yeah, we'll see what comes from that. Now, let me mention a couple of other small cap gappers here that you guys have been talking about. Zcar, ZCAR. This is a mover. Let's call it that. Let me just load up the details on it. It's halted right now. Downside halt 268. It barely looks like it's traded on the day because, well, it hasn't. I mean, it's barely been able to stay open. Let's flip to the 1. So this one really started getting its footing under it. Looks like at maybe a quarter to 12. The volume started picking up. It halted upside 210. It was a 10-minute halt there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is so the initial one is a 10-minute halt, and then we halted again at 294 for 15 minutes, popped up into that 381, whiffled, waffled. Now we're caught in a down halt right now, 268. Let's see if this is a 5-minute halt. We haven't had a 5-minute halt yet on Zcar on the day, as I mentioned, 10 and a 15. So we'll wait to see what this one does, up 103%. It's not the only one that's been halting to no end. NV, NI has been also halting to no end as well. I mean, this has been barely able to stay open. 383, it's broken all the levels right now with respect to moving averages. However, it's above VWAP, currently halted down, 3 down halts in a row, but still above that volume weighted average price, which is hanging out about, 2 1/5, 2 1/4. Currently halted at 237. If you're able to get into this, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad attempt to try to take this off of VWAP and then get caught in an up halt. I mean, I wouldn't mind trying that with small share size because the bottom could drop off. In any event, I've talked about this before. The ones that halt to no end, they seem to be, respecting the pattern, the momentum pattern with higher lows, higher highs, or they bounce off moving averages or VWAP. It's just the problem is that they're not open for that long. So it's hard to manage a risk on them if things go against you. So NVNI, definitely not my fave, but we're going to keep it on the watch list. PBM, I weaseled into a quick trade on this one. Now we've got I don't want to say the end of the uptrend, but we definitely have a change in trend. We've got a topping tail candle, and then we have an inside candle subsequent to that, the one that printed at 1210 on the 5-minute chart, but this is the operative candle. Now, lower high, lower low, subsequent to that 1210 candle. I'm talking about the 1215 candle. Now, the 1220 candle that we're currently in right now obviously has a lower high, but it doesn't have a lower low, and there it is. Now we get the lower low on PBM, so 3 candle setup now coming down into that 10 exponential moving average. Does it find support at the 10? I'm not going to pick it up at the 10. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't mind, though, getting a dip trade at 5. 5, the whole dollar level, obviously, as well as a skosh above that volume weighted average price, which on my chart looks like to be in the 4 high 80s, 488, 487, something like that. PBM is what I'm talking about right now at the 10 exponential moving average, well off those 787 highs, now dipping into 5. Whoa, 5 1/4 just came in. Yeah, the aggression with which these small cap gappers can come down in a hurry should not be understated in any event. We will not have to wait that long, it looks like, for a possible test of $5 here on PBM. So keep tabs on that one. Also, PSNL, still zigging and zagging with VWAP. It's holding VWAP right now, but I've moved up my stop initially from south of 440. I've now put it in the mid-40s. So if this does breach VWAP, I will be gone on this trade. I have 2 more outs on this one. Sad I was not able to get printed at 88. So let's flip to the large caps, see what's afoot. Wow, Tesla. Tesla just pooped the bed. 425.21 LOD blowing through that 428 low. So now we have a lower high and a lower low on TSLA, down 3 1/4. The weakness in Tesla, definitely the weakest of, I believe, the MAX-7. It is by far and away the weakest. It's the only red name in the MAX-7, believe it or not. All the other names green. NVIDIA, Amazon, Google. What are you knocking on? Oh, yeah. Knock on, Neil, I'm just calling it out, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, Neil doesn't want any more blood in the street, baby. Yeah, we had enough blood in the street yesterday.
Fine, man.
Yeah, I got to echo that sentiment. The long term obviously wasn't happy, but yeah. I was telling Neil off camera this morning, I'm like, it feels like the market yesterday was like somebody sprinting and Pop-Out Powell come in and just trip them. You were moving so fast, you were running so fast, any hiccup, it was like a middle linebacker
so
just inflated,
blowing somebody up through the middle of the field there. Yeah, it was an absolute hey man, he rained on the parade. There's no doubt about it. And I was actually thinking about this. I was gonna ask you, do you think someone pulls him aside, like who's JP's boss, and was like, hey man, we can't be so hawkish in the meetings because
I don't think there's anybody.
There's no one to be like, hey, you got to watch a little bit of what you say because look at the markets.
Independent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean it's its own entity. So at the same time, his wife. Okay, all right, yeah. So he got from Mrs. Powell said, hey, Jerome.
Oh, yeah.
Mrs. Powell's like, hey, Jerome.
She's in charge.
My guy, listen, you can't be.
Is that how it works at your house, Ram?
And the portfolio. Yeah,
not
she's
in her
the boss,
head.
eh?
Not in her
Who's
head.
who wears the pants, Ram?
Oh, well, she wears pants to
she
work
wears
every
it.
day, so.
Well, no,
yeah.
I would hope so. I would hope so, especially in these frigid temperatures.
What are you looking at, Joseph?
I see what you're saying. Okay, Powell. Okay, yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I was kind of getting at there, Sharif. Like, just looking at the chat, a lot of people were not happy with what he had to say. There's no doubt about that. So if we're in the chat, if we're not happy about it, then there's other people. But guys, I like where NVDA is kind of bouncing here. Let's see if we can kind of step in, do a little bit of a. One of these here, but okay, let's go over some of the top performing sectors. And you're gonna be a little bit surprised on this because I don't know how, but I'm gonna kind of do a new style here. So, first place here, guys, we have XLU, all right? So we're getting a little defensive, which makes a lot of sense. So XLU, putting in not really that stellar of a session, a lot of choppy, but a strong 5-minute opening drive. Utilities is the top performing sector thus far on the session, up about 1% on the day, all right? So in second place was XLF, the financials, the financial sector here. Let's see what we're up to. Again, slightly green, but nothing crazy, only up about 0.8% on that part. So I was looking at JPM. I wanted to see what JPM was up to, but again, a whole lot of nothing on that front. Now let's go to the tech sector because we are in third place there. Why you gotta embarrass me? All right, okay.
Why you gotta embarrass me? I love that.
All right, there we go. So again, the tech sector up about 0.6% there, guys. So that's just kind of what I'm looking for in rotation-wise, like what sectors are strong, and then you kind of break that down and look for the strong underlyings within that aspect. So again, not much going on. XLU at the top of things right now, so up about just 1% on the session so far, guys. And I told you, I mentioned this about NVDA. We're running into those resistance levels. I want to see if they can now act as support. I thought that price was going to slowly turn around. If we go and breach VWAP, that's fine. I'll just punch right back out, and then maybe we can find somewhat of a signal to get us back in on this trade. But guys, Bitcoin, IBIT is starting to really sell here, down to 56, 51 here on the session, going south of 100K, I believe. So yeah, again, keep an eye out on this. I don't know if we're going to turn around anytime soon. I mentioned this from a daily perspective, and I didn't love this price action whatsoever. Just from an experience standpoint, like when I see this curl over, that struggle, and I mentioned this before, it was like a struggle to kind of go and push that 108 level. I didn't love this consolidation phase, and there wasn't enough momentum to kind of break it and say, hey, this was a genuine move. Sure enough, we're pulling back. I do think that 90K is in the works so far for Bitcoin because I don't know why it just doesn't want to make those big, massive moves. I know we are up large year to date as well, too. So let's see from a percentage metric what we are up on. Bitcoin from the high here. Yeah, so at that high, we're up around 180%, a little bit more. But again, I was expecting a little bit more from Bitcoin, especially with the demand and all those inflows going into those new American ETFs.
Are you looking at Tesla?
Yeah, it's tanking.
The blood is in the streets. We've got a 4-candle red setup. It keeps making new lows. This dropping big. Here comes 420, that level that Elon was very excited that Tesla hit back when, I don't know how many days ago that was, but he took to X, obviously saying it's inevitable that we were going to hit 420. He said the same thing about 469. Shout out to Elon. But here we go, 421.23 LOD. We well below that 428 low that we were talking about yesterday. And the market kind of coincided with that big boy Tesla drop. The market now, the NQ, that is, the NQ. I've got the December contracts here. I forgot to update them. Give me one moment here to update to the new contract. I'm no longer going to be charting off the December contract. Well, there's one reason for that. Case in point, December 20th contract has 77,000 contracts traded on the day. Compare that to March, which has 469,000. So it behooves us to actually look at the one that's actually doing volume. I'm deleting right now the December contracts for the Dow, the ES, the RUS. I'm removing all the December contracts as we speak, and we'll update them over here. So here is the March contract. We are now negative on the NQ, down 0.25%. We're still green on the ES and the Dow. We're negative 0.33% on the RUS. NVIDIA also dropping down 2%, but NVIDIA is at VWAP. Okay. Interesting look here for the monster NVIDIA, 131.50 or thereabouts is the volume weighted average price. It looks like it was more like 131.60. Ugly V-shaped or inverted V-shaped retracement off that 134 touch and drop. And now we're at that $0.50. You know, there's really not a whole lot of price action support at this level other than just the volume weighted average price. So if NVIDIA wants to get a balance, let's keep an eye on it at this level.
Oh, MicroStrategy getting slapped.
MSTR is getting pooped.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the daily?
Yeah, 328.
That looks like a nasty flat bottom break. Lower high,
bro,
lower high.
Big time, man.
Oh, that's not a good look.
Sailor.
There. Yeah.
Sailing away.
So many people on X hating on Sailor.
Yeah,
so I can't tell you how many people just calling it a Ponzi scheme, basically saying, you know, the coupon that he's giving out on some of these warrants that he's issuing, bonds, I'm sorry, that he's issuing on for his company are just, you know, they're not going to be worth anything if Bitcoin drops below a certain price. You even have that joker Calcanis just hating on him. Also, Peter Schiff, one of the guests on this show, not too happy with Sailor either. Every day I'm seeing tweets or X's from Peter Schiff just pooping on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
He doesn't like Bitcoin. He likes gold. That's fine. He's entitled to his opinion.
You don't have to like it, really.
Yeah, so
You don't have to like it. It's like you don't have to like it, but don't deny what it's done. It's that simple. Right?
I mean, the thing's up $100,000 in a decade. Like, what are we talking about here?
Right?
We're still guessing?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm
it's
sold.
Just
I wasn't always sold, but I'm sold.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of scary when you have such large size going on. But I mean, it's just totally normal stuff, man. And again, we got the BlackRock ETFs. And as well as all those other ETFs. So there is demand for this thing. There's no denying that.
No.
And the technology is very real. There's absolutely no denying that either. So
Yeah, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
PBM. We're at an interesting area here for these small cap gappers. We're at 5. And that also happens to be the volume weighted average price. Now, this did wick below VWAP, got into that 60s area. This current candle that we're in right now, that 1230 candle relative to that 1225 candle is an inside candle. Now, what I did like about the candle at 1225 on the 5-minute, what it did was the closing print was actually at or a little above VWAP. You want to see that. The closing print's always the most important print for me, whether it's on a per candle basis or at the end of the day. Let's see if this current candle, the 1230 candle that we're in right now, is able to make a new high. So let's see if we can bounce off the volume weighted average price. It was a hell of a retracement off 787 all the way back down into 490, and then we're kind of holding up. So this current candle's green, but it's still not near a new high of 236%. I could absolutely be persuaded to get back into PBM here if it shows me the right thing. So I'm going to pack my patience to see if I'm able to weasel back in to PBM. I'm still in PSNL, and the reason I haven't gotten out, despite the fact that it rejected 88s and it has a lower high, is because it's still holding VWAP. It doesn't even wick below the volume weighted average price. So that may change. I'm going to hang out. I've got a couple of more outs here on PSNL to see if this one wants to allow me in. Keeping an eye on the MAG, right? You got to keep an eye on the MAG right now. NVIDIA is holding VWAP on a 2-candle basis. Again, this candle, that 1225 candle, did close above the volume weighted average price. It did wick below, but the closing print above VWAP. So NVIDIA, possible entry here at VWAP as well. It's already moving up nicely off that 131.60 drop and pop. Here comes 132. So it's already 40 pennies clear of the volume weighted average price up to in a third. Let's keep an eye out on that one. No blood well, what am I trying to say here? I mean, Tesla is still bleeding. That's what I'm trying to say. Still heading to the downside, 420.55. Is 420 the low? That could be the low, because we're now at 424 with this 5-minute candle made new high. Relative to the previous candle above it. Okay, 425, 426 incoming, possibly here on Tesla. Moving crazy. Yeah, Tesla's, Adara was telling me that she was trying to trade Tesla again because it was spready. I get it. Now I'm watching TSLA trade, and we're moving like 30, 40 pennies on every increment. So, yeah, Tesla is acting a little different. It's not the same stock as it was at, $200, $190, stuff like that. So, That's all I'm watching right now. Keeping my eye on PB. I'm looking at getting back in here, Joseph, or on NVIDIA as well.
Beautiful stuff there, my guy, as always. Yeah, so I mentioned this on NVDA. We popped out, and then now we hop back in here because you were mentioning, as you were talking about it, Sharif, I'm like, I like this. Let's hop back in here because we do get that better price. And you know I like to stop out and then reassess the situation and then find a potentially better price. And sure enough, that is the case. And now let me just break this down here. And just this was the way I was kind of brought into trading, is now look at this to a risk to rewards scenario. I'm risking towards VWAP, right? So look at this move here, folks, right? From my initial entry to VWAP, fantastic. So I need that to hit a 2-to-1. I need this to move up to around these levels. I stop out at the price that I'm willing to stop out at, and then I just re-enter. Now look at my RVR from this aspect, all right? So it's significantly less, about half, and then sure enough, I don't need nearly as much of an extended move in order to participate on that front. So that's just my style. All right, totally different to other styles, but for me, it's like, okay, if I'm gonna stop out, let me get out here, reassess the situation, potentially get a better price, and then get back in. And then sure enough, the system, the trade is starting to work in our favor. Now, let's go to Tesla. I like Tesla right now because of something very specific, and I hope you guys are looking at what I am looking at. We did have that volume start to increase to the downside, so we do have to be wary of that. But what we do have is this indecision candle at an extreme low. We are now down about over 3% on the session, just under 4, to be honest, 3.75%, as you guys can see on my screen. So I want to see if this level can hold. If 420 holds, then boom, now I have a potential trade there. I can risk that low. If it decides to break, the thesis is invalid, and that's totally fine. But if we hold this level and then slowly start to turn around in price action, then I'm going to look to get involved on that. So buy at VWAP, NVIDIA NQ is supporting right now with Tesla falling. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough look for the longs today. I'm not going to beat around that bush, but just be weary. Like, as soon as your thesis is invalid, just get out, because yesterday's selling was so immense that it's hard to just turn the off button like that. People are going to start panicking a little bit because we are overly extended on the overall markets. And we'll just look at the cues from a daily perspective, because it's unfortunate that kind of, it's like what the classic trading saying goes, you take the stairs up and then you just the window out on the way out, right? Essentially, or the elevator down, right? So yeah, exactly, right? So again, a nice stair step. But the unfortunate thing here is that we just engulfed pretty much the previous 2 weeks. And that's just usually how the selling is. So again, expect a little bit more. I would expect some support on the cues around the 504 level. Totally reasonable. I'm not going to hit the panic mode at that point or anytime soon, because again, we're bullish long-term equities. Just because the street didn't like what happened yesterday doesn't mean it's the end of the world for the market. That it's far from the case. These things happen all the time. Just expect and I was thinking this to myself, with every reaction, there's going to be an equal and opposite reaction, okay? So every action equal and opposite reaction. So we were extended for a long period of time, and it's the same thing with Tesla. I'm like, how much higher can we go without pulling back? Because just going parabolic like that is not overly healthy. And sure enough, look at the case. The market overreacts to the downside. You can call it what you will, justified reaction or overreaction. But again, we're selling extremely heavy. That volatility is starting to kick in here, guys. So once things start to cool down, volatility kind of cools off, then maybe we can start to see a turnaround in price action. But again, I think 400 may be in the works according to the price action bars that we see here on Tesla. So just be wary. There might be a little bit deeper of a pullback, but I'm sure enough, I think it'll be only a matter of time until our good friend, the cyber one, sees 500.
Bro, there's a guy at my gym with the cyber truck.
Yeah.
The ugliest wrap. I gotta take a picture of this, man. It's an orange wrap. Why would you put an orange wrap on the cyber truck? Man? It looked like a square basketball.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a good look. Was it? What?
On the side.
On the side, yeah. I like that, the side. I was like, what's the guy talking about? All right, guys, we're scalping here on PBM. Showed it to Tisha. I see you, Tisha. So I got in at 520, scalped up into 540s. Now I put a dip trade at 505. I'm going to give this one 10 pennies. I'm just not going to dilly-dally with this one because the bottom could drop off at any time, and I don't want to be caught with this one zigging and zagging. So it's going to have to hold 5. It's going to have to hold VWAP. Otherwise, I want no smoke. It's already a few pennies out of the money over here, and if it dips any lower than 495, we're gone. But we're going to scalp on this bad boy. So we'll see what opportunities this one wants to give. Already below 5, and here we go. We're going to get stopped out 95s. There we go. We got stopped out for the remaining amount there. So we'll see if this one wants to change its tune. I'm not going to try to guess off VWAP anymore because, well, look, I think I'm just trading this wrong here at VWAP. I'm expecting the same type of bounce that we would get, you know, during a more liquid time of the day off VWAP. But that's not how I think this one should be traded during this time slot. We need to be accumulating here at VWAP. I need to be building my position, not with tight stops, looking for it to bounce back up in a parabolic fashion. I should be taking advantage, you know, ex post facto analysis of it hanging out at VWAP. So, yeah, I don't have to get in my entire position all at one time. Yeah, that's exactly what I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to do just that. It's 4 candle hold up now above VWAP. We'll see if this one wants to drop off, but I have a feeling that this one is going to give me an opportunity maybe to accumulate at this level with maybe some good prints in the high 4s, maybe 480s, maybe even 470s. We'll see. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. If it really starts breaking down, then I'm just going to let it go. But if it continues to do this kind of pattern right now, PBM I'm talking about, then I can build my position on this one. I also see you guys talking about TNXP. And I don't usually I don't really love trading these sub $1 stocks, especially when they're 40 pennies. This is at around 41 pennies. TNXP is the ticker. We're going to change NVNI into TNXP. Give it a second to load over here. There we go. This one really started breaking out. But the problem is it's not above that pre-market high. So that 4 a.m. print that we had took us all the way up to 45 pennies. And to be quite honest with you, we did volume at around 4 a.m. too. That had about 1.3 million shares that popped it up into that 45 penny area. And one of my rules is you got to take the pre-market high for me to get involved with these small cap gappers. So I'm going to let that one do its thing until it's above 45 pennies. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw an alert.
Throw it up?
Yeah, I'm going to throw an alert on there to kind of get wind of when this may be approaching that 45 penny high. So we'll hit activate on that one. And as I see it, PBM is breaking down. Okay, so maybe I had the wrong idea after all. I want to build a position at VWAP. This one showed me a finger like Ram does. Right into that 425, 417 low right there. And the volume is also dropping off. Hey, Ram, am I saying anything wrong? No. Not. No. And Joseph would definitely point out the fact that the volume is dropping off significantly on this one. Each volume bar successively lower than its predecessor. So maybe I had the wrong idea after all with PBM to try to get it in on the volume weighted average price. That's fine. Can't get them right all the time, so I'm going to keep my eye out on that one. Zcar, though, guys, finally able to stay open. This is the 1 minute on Zcar. Let's flip to the 5. Yeah, it's rocketing up. 469 HOD right now. It's finally able to stay open for more than a few minutes. Let's go back to the 1. Yeah, we've been open on this one since 12:36, so we're going on a few minutes now. Each higher highs and higher lows. It's really going 476 now on Zcar. 260%. Looks like this might be a halt level at 76 pennies, and it is halted, I believe. No, it's not. Why is it? Is it showing me? Is it halted? What's going on here, bro? It's not showing me on my platform. No, it's not halted. It was a false halt at 76, dipping back down. Let's see what this one does. It's moving well. So ZCAR. Good look. There it is. 490 HOD. This one's really going. So we've got one here. I was hesitant to trade this earlier because it just couldn't stay open. Here's another halt level, 494. Let's see if this is another false halt. Let's load this up on a trading screen. Why am I looking around these? Yeah, so that's another false halt there. It didn't halt. Which one can I take off? Let's see. Omar's crap. ZCAR on the NQ. Here we are. So let's see what this one's cooking up right now. There it is, halted. 494 halt. So we do get the halt on Zcar. So yeah, so, you know, we're not changing much of the tune here, I guess, with this one continuing to halt. But at least it was able to stay open for a little bit longer. So I'm going to keep my eye on Zcar as well as TNXP. If TNXP wants to take out that 45 pennies, absolutely be persuaded to get back into that. What are you guys looking at? I haven't been I haven't been looking at the chat too much today, just been trading these small cap gappers. VW, Sharif sailing close to the wind? I don't know what that means. Is that an expression? Anybody know what that means?
Is that like Icarus flying too close to the sun?
Ooh. I don't know. Let me know, VW. I have no idea what that means, but sure. Let's see what else people are talking about there in the chat. Let's see what any comments over here. Shout out to Ryan. I like your play, Sharif, small account friendly. Yeah, man, that's kind of why I got into the small cap gapper situation back in 2020. That's when I started trading these during COVID. Obviously, we were all locked down, couldn't work.
Crazy
so
times.
yeah, it was a different time to be alive, bro.
Crazy
And then I started
time.
watching a small cap gapper trader. I'm not going to say who it was. I don't give them any clout on the channel, but started watching them, watching how they trade, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting over here. And that was kind of really, that was my foray into trading. Then you start watching CNBC, you get more
you get more involved into
with the bigger stuff, with the bigger names. Started watching the Katina Man and Neil December of 2020. Know exactly when I started watching the show. And that's kind of when everything changed. You know, I started looking more at the large caps, some mid cap stocks, not just solely on these small cap gaps.
Yeah, we talked about this before too, Sharif, just kind of how when you first start out trading is you're kind of fixated on just like the stocks, but then just how that knowledge base kind of expands. It's like, okay, yeah, you're just working on stocks. Then you need to understand the macro data that you get in the mornings, like jobless claims and all these reports that come out before the market opens. And then you start diving into like, okay, now you got earnings reports. So it just kind of expands. And I think that just comes with just experience over time, and that gets you involved in kind of all those different things. And it's really interesting. If you're either new to the journey or have been doing it for a while, I'm sure you can attest to that. And if you're new, that's how it kind of works. Your knowledge base just kind of expands. You're curious on why things start to move. And sure enough, you just kind of continue to grow and grow. And that's kind of how I started trading options. I had a bunch of my friend traders, they were trading options, and you can see the success that they had and just kind of the complexity of the options. And I was like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And then sure enough,
straight up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that everybody should have that kind of mentality for sure. Officially, I'm Brendan. Can you talk about pros and cons of short strangles versus credit spreads? You know what? I'm not like short strangles. Yeah, it's kind of like a condor, right? So if you do a short strangle, you need price to stay within that specific range, kind of opposed to the opposite, where you're kind of offsetting with a bias, if that makes any sense to you, where you need it to exceed, if you're doing it in the earnings, you need it to exceed kind of those strike prices in order for one contract to outweigh the other. So short is kind of like a condor. If you construct a condor, you can kind of classify that as a short strangle. You need price to stay within a specific range, if that answers your question officially. So the cons is the cons of that was just that we'd have to construct short options contracts, right? And we know that it can be dangerous at times when you're shorting options contracts. The pros on that front is that you give yourself a range in order to be correct, right? So again, you don't have to be specific. You don't need price to exceed X. You just need it to stay within a range. So those would be the pros and cons. Hopefully that answers your question officially. So because I know that's your Sharif's favorite name, and officially. But yeah, look. We're bouncing off of VWAP here, Sharif. I'm really liking this here, guys. We held on to this one, and okay, this is how I look at this. Okay, so if I held on to this position, this is just how I look at it. Totally subjective. If I held on to this position, now I'm sitting at essentially just break even. So I sat through all of this. My hair was falling out in the meantime. Everything. Yeah, you get a little stressed out, right? So again, I'm sitting here in this position like, oh, okay, now we're just break even. Congratulations, we didn't get anything on that. But no, I cut the position, get back in, and then sure enough, we're in there. But we're gonna send it off to Sharif for the ad read. So hopefully that makes sense for you guys.
Imagine trading with someone else's capital instead of your own. That's what it means to be a funded trader at Trade the Pool. And this is how it works. First, you complete the evaluation program by meeting the profit targets. And once you succeed, you trade the Pool's capital, which allows you to trade with up to $260,000 in buying power. And the best part is you keep up to 80% of your profits while the firm takes all the risk. It's literally the ultimate way to trade, whether you're a beginner or a professional trader. So go on and check it out, tradethepool.com. You can check out the link in the description of this video, or if you're more savvy and you got your camera phone or your phone handy, scan that QR code on the bottom right of your screen. Shout out to everybody. I hope everybody does real well. And I was really interested to see who was going to win that competition they had last time. And I love the fact that a lot of the people were trading small cap gappers because, you know, it's like the individual said in the chat, it's very small cap friendly, or small account friendly, excuse me, these small cap gappers. All right, speaking of small cap gappers, I'm involved in a sub $1 name, not typically my wheelhouse, but we're gonna give this one the old college try. And so I'm setting up here on TNXP in at 45 because that was the break of the 4 a.m. high, so I stuck to my rule. And now I'm setting up some beak wetters up here. Let's see, I haven't been printed on anything. It's still zigging, it's still zagging. I'm gonna have to give it to below 42 because that's where the bull flag kind of breakout area is. If you want to consider this the pull, this the consolidation area between 40 and 42.5. You're going to have to give it some room. Let's see what it does. If it holds up here, I'll add at around this bull flag continuation area. It's already coming down quite aggressively. So here I can get an opportunity to add, I think, at this level. Let's see what this one does. If it wants to dip down into 42s, let's hang out at 42.5. I'm going to add there. Let's see what it does. There we go. We get the add. So we'll pack our patience on this one, see if it wants to curl back up. Let's go, TNXP, go back up. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. PSNL, though, I'm seeing on my side chart curling back up into the mid-60s. Happy about that one because I was really disappointed I didn't get the 88 print there. So pack my patience to see if we can bump up on both of these names. But I see you guys yelling about Tesla because apparently Tesla was on the way up. Well, not really. I mean, it's off that 420 low, certainly, but it is still at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5, and it hasn't cleared it with in any decisive way. And you've got a 2-candle hold up at the same level, 428.5, and now we're down into 426.75. So this could be another short to pop opportunity. The short to pop opportunities were coming into the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. Now, because of this weakness, I guess maybe you're going to have to get it off the 10. In any event, keep your eye out on Tesla. This could be another possible opportunity to add it to the shorts. Apple at 250, and it's awfully close to that volume weighted average price at 249 2/3. So another possible opportunity there to get in on Apple as it comes into a predictable area. Back to TNXP. Sorry, I got to flip and flop between these stocks, but that was a good add so far. Here comes 45 on TNXP. I'm not going to move down my orders. So by definition, we're going to have to take out the high of the day for me to get printed. I did add the same amount that I got into on this dip here into the low end of the bull flag, or in the top end of the bull flag range. I can speak, I promise. But it's going to have to take out 45.70 for me to get printed. Here we go with 45s. Size here on 45s. Can we take out the sellers at 45? The answer is no, at least not immediately. So packing my patience on this one, looking for that high day break, but the volume really spiking up on this one. I like my odds. I like my chances, but you know, that's all. That's all. We only try to put the odds in our favor. Nothing is guaranteed in this business. You just try to put the odds in your favor. That's really the move here. So in TNXP, Joseph, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm actually just about to pull up PLTR. I want to talk about Tesla real quick because I mentioned this time and time again, and these signals show up like almost every day. And the more seat time you get, the more comfortable you are going to be taking these trades. I'm not the type of individual who likes to catch falling knives. I wait for those specific signals, even though in this case I am. They don't always work. Like yesterday, I mentioned to you guys, I got smoked on IBIT. It just didn't work, and I tried to catch a reversal on the TQs as well too, and it just didn't work. But when it does work, it works really well, guys. So let's take a look here on TSLA, and then just go over why we took this long, all right? So we know that we had an absolute monstrous day. We went to SSSR on Tesla, right? But now we're continuing to sell. How much more can we go down? Down 6% on the session. Then you put in these indecision candles here. okay, we've been absolutely getting beat up here. Okay, I think it's time to turn around. Sure enough, we have that increase with that isolated volume signature and that indecision candle at an extreme low. I'm looking for these every day. I'm looking when anything is at an extreme high or an extreme low, I'm looking for them. You can point out the exact same thing on the daily. I mentioned this time and time again, how much higher can we go? And then look at this daily print here at an extreme high. The market will tell you when it's about time to turn around. It doesn't always turn around on a dime, right? It takes a little while and it will display those signals, and it's just a matter of time until you can have the ability to take advantage of those signals. We did the volume price analysis lesson. Go over that. Sit in the seat. Just watch. I know when I'm sitting at my desk at home, no matter what I'm doing, I always have a replay. If it's after market hours, I always have a replay on the side on one of my secondary or tertiary screens, right? I just always have something, just always keeping an eye on, just getting familiar with where these prints occur and where they happen and where you could potentially find them. Now, if anybody has, now chat, listen to me here, please, and thank you. Can someone pull up, if someone has their Camarilla pivot points on their chart right now, tell me where Tesla bounced. What support level did Tesla bounce off of? Was it out of the range, or was it a key support system that we were talking about earlier in the day? Can someone please tell me in the chat? I'm really curious. Tom Lee, back up the truck. I like Tom Lee, Rogers. So guys can just continue to let me know. Yeah, BTC is bleeding, and I expect nothing less. The volatility to step in. I told you I didn't like how the way it was trading. Unfortunately, I added at not the best time, but again, my average is extremely low, so I'm not too worried about that. We'll add a little bit more at the 90s because I do think we're going to come back to that 90K mark, and then maybe we'll get that volatility skew to step in. Tesla bounced at S3. Thanks. See, key support level. Much appreciated, Chris Menina. Very much appreciated. Thank you for paying attention, and thank you for putting that in the chat. Again, really much appreciated. Bounce off that 420 level, 420.02. Yeah, I know the price, folks, but we're talking about support and resistance levels, so give me the S or the R value of where it bounced. I know it bounced at 420, but just the support and resistance level because I don't have them on here. But Chris, or someone in the chat already mentioned it. I think it was Chris Meniana or something. Along those times. So I appreciate that. Thank you for paying attention, and much appreciated as always. Now we're going to get that slow bounce on Tesla, and the markets are slowly bouncing as well too. We have that kind of the same signal here. Like, look at these multiple indecision signals here on the SPY, right? This is what you want to see when you're looking for price to turn around, right? These are the type of prints that you're looking for. Right, so look at that double bottom, Sharif, almost to the penny, dude. That's absolutely insane. Like, that is crazy. With those hammer dojis, indecision dojis, whatever you would like to classify it as. Yeah, Chris said there was an S3, so that's perfect stuff. Yeah, exactly. 423 on the cams. Like, Chris, thank you for that. Much appreciated for paying attention and realizing, like, hey, they bounce off of these key levels. These are really specific levels. Again, beautiful double bottom here on the SPY, and sure enough, we're starting to turn around in price. Bitcoin is continuing to sell, folks, down around 98K. I do think we go south of that as well, too. But yeah, guys, how much? We only got 3 minutes left. We need 60 more votes. We need those 1K votes, guys, and then we're going to document. I think it's our 10th trade of all time here. So we're starting to collect a sample set here, Sharif. But but that's the whole idea of it, man. And I'm loving it. I'm giddy about it. There's no doubt about that, guys. So let's get those votes to 1,000. Then we're going to document our next trade. I still haven't really filled out the other one. But again, we're starting to build sample sets as a collective unit, and that's a beautiful thing, in my opinion, my friend.
All right, let's talk about Micron, because I really haven't been looking at it. Obviously, it was an earnings loser yesterday. A bit of a tougher look. I have things to say about it. From a fundamentals perspective, we can talk about that. Took some good notes in the morning there. Look, trading-wise, we've obviously had an issue. Let me just throw that ticker on there. I apologize. We've obviously had an issue with the 50 exponential. Okay, I have to pause because we're going to take out levels here on TNXP, and I'm waiting for some prints. Can we get that 46? I've been waiting for that 46. There it is. Okay, let's go. Come on, 47. There it is. Come on, 48s. Let's go, bro.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go, bro. Here we go. 47s again. Above 47. Squeeze. Let's go. Looking for that 48 pop. And I'm trying to take it out in front of 50, thinking, that 50 penny area likely will be an area of resistance, at least locally. Sorry, I just had to pause my analysis quickly on Micron just to deal with this trade. Let's see if we can continue to ascend here. Now we're long 44s with the adjusted cost basis, waffling. There it is, boom, at 48. All right, let's set up again, Joseph. This time I'm gonna set up on the north side of 50. We're gonna sit at 52s, come what may. Let's see what the situation is with this one. We're really gonna need to squeeze 48 pennies HOD on TNXP. Happy with this one. Let's just see if it continues. Again, the only reason I got into it at 45 is because it took out the pre-market high. I have a rule with these small cap gappers. If you've been watching me trade them for a while, above VWAP, above the pre-market high are kind of very simplistic rules, but they help you stay out of trouble. Right now, we're having issues with 50 pennies or 48 pennies, unable, Joseph, to ascend above that. So we'll have to pack my patience on this one. I just don't want to look away because the bottom can drop off at any minute, so I want to be able to react to it if need be. But I like my cost basis at this level, so even if it does come down, I think we should be okay. I'm going to just let this one cook. Let's go back to Micron. So the issue with Micron has been the 50 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. So ever since we dropped off big boy at 925 there, right at the beginning of the opening bell, we haven't been above the 50 exponential. We did our darndest at 1125. Topping tail, the mother of all ugly topping tail candles came in at that level, and then we ended up closing even lower than the open there, so ended up red. We attempted again at 87 3/4 to take the 50 exponential and rejected again. Now we're right back at that 50. However, it's not the same situation because now we have a higher low. So we weren't able to drop back down to that 85, 84 3/4 as low as we had been last time. So look, to me, I'm taking it. I'm not going to trade Micron, but if I had to take Micron right now, it would be a short off 87 1/4, 50 exponential, wherever the 50 exponential is, and I'd be wetting my beak right at that 86.20, ideally 86 if we were to make a new low. So Micron having a lot of issues right now with the 50 exponential moving average on the 5. It's down 16%. So a bit of a tougher look there, Joseph.
Yeah.
So we'll keep an eye out on that one. I'll wax poetic about it, about the fundamentals for it in a second, but I just want to keep my eye on TNXP. What are you looking at?
Yeah, man. 1,000 votes. We
Wow.
got it. Yeah,
Oh, so it's time for us to do our
It's
job?
time, baby. It's 1 o'clock. It's time for us to document
Yes,
the
sir. Let
Playmaker
me
poll,
bring
the
that
PMP.
Let's
go, the Playmaker poll.
We're looking, okay. So
All right, folks.
SPY,
Yeah. We're both not ready here.
All right, I'm ready.
Trade number 10. You're ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Freddie, let's go.
587.94.
587. Wow, 587.94.
Where were we yesterday,
Whoa,
Joseph?
605, man. Jeez. Okay.
Oof.
587. All right. What's our stop loss there,
So
my guy?
586.94.
586.94.
And then we're wetting our beak, 589.
589.94. Looking for some profits there, folks.
That's above VWAP.
Yeah, it's above. And I like it. I have a lot of confidence in this one this far, my guy. So let's see what happens here, and let's type in the date as well too, because that's what we want to be tracking. Beautiful stuff there, guys. Here we are.
We are Playmaker poll.
Yeah, Playmaker poll. Look at here. Here we go, guys. As you can see, this is our equity curve. I'm really liking this. Let's see if we can continue, or do we just kind of fluctuate this? But I can tell you one thing, Sharif. There's somebody in the chat who says, why even vote if everybody is just going to go long all the time?
I know.
Can you guess who that person is?
Big Spile?
Big Spile.
Shocked.
Yeah, exactly.
He just chimed in 586.94 stop loss. Yeah, that's kind of the rule. We're not basing the rule of the stop on technicals, Big Spile.
Yeah.
We get in right at 1 o'clock when we do the poll, and then we put $2 beak wetter and $1 stop loss above the entry price. So,
dude, am I seeing this right?
What's
Were
up?
we in at 587.94? Did the market just dumped?
Let me have a look. Yeah, it did.
Wow.
587.49. Yeah, we dropped by 50 pennies. Yeah.
What? Just like that? Like, what happened? Why isn't anything moving?
No.
On my chart, yeah.
Yes, though, so it doesn't have to be Mag 7 centric, right?
Okay.
Like that's usually typically the NQ, right?
That's a little bit of a tough one there, guys. We might get our first stop out of all time here.
Oh, we haven't been stopped out.
No, we haven't been stopped out.
That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good record to have right there. I wouldn't mind that.
record to have there, but it's not looking too pretty.
Look what the
for us,
spiled
so.
one is writing.
He's
Cue
very
the
short.
stop loss graphic. We don't have one.
We don't have one, man.
But we could do this, fly at the bottom, break.
But it
take out the
was a
level.
close one. This might be the second closest one, Sharif. 58% to the long side and 42% to the short side.
Whoa.
So that was the closest one. It was about 45% to the short side was the highest that we've seen. But again, Kyle might be right on this one, guys. We might be on the wrong side of the trade, but only time will tell, folks. We got our numbers documented. So now it's just to be patient and to see what happens. So yeah, it's getting bloody. There's no doubt about that, guys.
There is blood in the streets right now, man.
There is absolute blood in the streets.
Let's
There's
talk
no doubt
about some of
that.
these mag, Joseph, because the Apple gave you an excellent entry off the volume-weighted average price ram. It did come into that 249.71. Popped up to 250.67, so you could have got some money off that. But as quick as we popped up, we dropped right back down. We're a skosh above VWAP, a skosh below 250. But you feel like this one is just setting up to really bleed. We'll have to wait and see. NVIDIA was kind of the same look. It came into VWAP, and I yelled when the VWAP came in on NVIDIA. And it's been zigging. It's been zagging a little above. A little below now, below VWAP, wicking below VWAP. This one gave you an 130.50 entry, and it worked its way all the way up to 132.58 on this candle here at 12:45. So VWAP, VWAP is factoring in here, whether it's Apple or NVIDIA. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this all pans out. Amazon below VWAP, Microsoft below VWAP, Meta below VWAP, Google below VWAP. And Tesla, obviously, below VWAP. Oh, Tesla just did another 20 exponential retracement. I missed that. So breach the 20, but as quick as you like, it dropped right back below. So this is an interesting one. We've been talking about Tesla and the 20 exponential moving average on the day a bunch of times. So is this an interesting area here now to get in on Tesla? Okay, so let's work our way over here. We're going to move PBM, and I'm going to load TSLL on the NQ, and we're going to have a look here to see what the situation is. I could absolutely be persuaded if Tesla wants to drop back down again to take this south, especially with the NQ literally at lows. I'm talking about the March contract, by the way. I'm not looking at the December contract, even though they're probably both near lows. 21,452. We seem to be defending that 50-point area, 21,450. So we'll see. If we give up the ghost at that level, you got to assume we drop below VWAP and on Apple and NVIDIA. And we'll have to see what Tesla does. But yeah, now I've got Tesla up on the trading screen, TSLL, excuse me, on the trading screen. We'll see if we can weasel into some of these trades. Back to TNXP though. It's below my entry now, but still above the 10 exponential moving average, and obviously by extension of that, above VWAP. So I'm packing my patience right now, looking for this one to hold the level and work its way back up to test 50 pennies. I don't need to be quick to get this out. I've already de-risked in the pop into 48s over here. So we'll see if this one wants to move back up again, above the 10 exponential still not below that. So you got to assume the trend is still intact. We'll see. It's time for you guys, though, to vote. Again, I'm sorry. I know we have a lot of voting today, but yeah, jump in here. We got Bitcoin below 100,000 right now at 98,222. I will be adding more. Upstart's getting shellacked today. Last time I looked there, Upstart down 7 and change, 8 and change now. Upstart getting shellacked. Apple and NVIDIA faring well, decent on the day. They're both at or around VWAP, so keep an eye on that. And then Tesla, for all my bears out there, you have one of those. I will vote BTC. That's what I will vote. Most people, though, voting for Tesla, already 234 votes. So get your votes in. You have till around 1 o'clock to have your say every day. Shout out to Havana Woody. Raider Trader is pumping PC. A sub-dollar ticker. What do you think? Let's have a look at what Raider's talking about. PC. I don't know it. Let's have a look at the technicals. Premium Catering Holdings. Oh, it's doing a hell of a lot of volume. No, I'm kidding. It's not. So PC, $11.68 million market cap with 27,000 shares traded today. They are a halal food caterer specializing in Indian, Bangladesh, and Chinese cuisine, and all its food products are halal food, which is permissible for consumption by Muslims. The company's principal business activity is food catering, including supply segments, okay?
Oh, wow.
So they're in the food business. Let's flip to the daily. I don't know why Raider is talking about this. I have no idea what Raider sees, but you'll have to ask him. Looks like this one came to market at around mid-September, September 25th, and it has not been a good look. Sub $1, around 80 pennies, and it has been that way since October 25th. So I'm not sure what Raider's seeing. You'll have to ask him. But intraday, I wouldn't touch it because it's only done 27,000 shares. Hardly an amount of shares to be able to manage risk. I don't like it either from a daily perspective just because it's caught in a consolidation zone sub $1. Maybe Raider knows something. I personally don't know. You're going to have to ask him.
Everybody in the chat saying he's referring to the put to call ratio on it.
Oh, okay. So then that's your business right there. You take that one then, because that's
I didn't even see what they were saying. I was sorry, I was busy. Yeah, no, put to call ratio is what that refers to.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yeah. But I didn't read what I said. I'm sorry. I was like,
Raider Trader is pumping. No, he put PC dollar.
PC. Oh yeah, I don't know.
So that's a ticker. PC,
Is he
a
in the
sub-dollar
chat?
ticker. What do you think? Says Havana. What do you know? He's not talking about what the call ratio.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see the thing. So, Big Spile knows food. This ain't no chicken dinner. $2. Super chat.
Anybody know this restaurant? Does anybody know this Premium Catering Holdings? If you do, let me know in the chat. Just tag me so that I can see it, guys. Otherwise, I may miss the message. Shout out to the Spiled one. This ain't no chicken dinner. Winner, winner. Shout out to you. Did you ever watch that movie, 21?
21? Mm-hmm. No.
It's about the counting cards in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, I think I
Sick movie, bro.
Yeah, 21. I think I've seen that.
Counting
so did I. Yeah, when I was younger too.
Yeah,
when I was younger in like 2016. It's
jam.
actually not that complicated. Like it's just you just have to be really quick,
That's
right?
the thing. You just, I think genuinely, like, you obviously have to be very smart, but I think if you get some hours under your belt, you could probably
I forget the kind of the metrics of it because it was years ago in like 2016. But it's like essentially just +1, -1, +2, -2, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
There's cards with 0.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
+1 and a -1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Something along those, and then you just kind of add quick. I tried a couple stints at the Falls View Casino and stuff. Like, I think it's sick. You know what I mean?
But they've gotten the casinos, like, fact check me, chat. Don't the casinos get around that by using multiple decks?
Well, here in Canada, we use 5 decks, I believe, is the situation, and then in the States it's only 1, I believe. So fact check me. Yeah. So it's a little bit easier. I could be wrong, but here in Canada we have 5 decks, so it's a little bit more complicated. But yeah, I was a big 21 player back in the day.
Yeah.
I love
blackjack. It's like been my jam.
I think when you start off at the casino, all the boys like was war. Was like you never played war?
No.
So it's essentially just the highest card wins, right? So it's like, you against the dealer, the highest card wins.
Okay.
So we would get absurd when we just turned 19 because here, folks, in Canada, you only have to be 19 to go to the casino, not like the States. So like the day I turned 18, me and my boys went to Georgian Downs and we were just betting horses and buying scratch cards. Yeah, I remember my old vehicle. I used to have an old Hyundai hatchback. Yeah, and it was just littered with this Pac-Man scratch card. It was just littered with it. Yeah, it was good times, man. Good times back there, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Mark Susi. Liquidation skyrocket beyond $1 as BTC altcoins bleed out heavily again because of over-leveraged holders. Mark Susi, you are probably not wrong. We know that a lot of people are buying Bitcoin with margin, leverage, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we're going to get some volatility, but I never for one moment thought that Bitcoin was not going to be volatile. And in fact, I was banking on that volatility in order to be able to add, and I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get a $90,000 drop. If we do get one, I will be adding. I am sold on Bitcoin. I'm only speaking for myself. It's never financial advice, but I'm sold. This thing has moved up $100,000 in a decade. If that isn't enough for you, fine. Don't get involved. But I'm going to get involved. And I don't want to miss on some generational wealth. If I have to take a hit and be out of the money for a hot minute, so be it. I'm sold on it, and I get it. It's like Michael Saylor was comparing it to New York real estate. I get that the comparison doesn't make sense. New York real estate can generate revenue, obviously, so you can pay for it using rent, whatever, other methodology you want to use to generate revenue from the house. I know Bitcoin doesn't do that. But I don't think we're at that anymore, at that stage. You cannot limit your thinking in that way with Bitcoin. I think that we're going to move past that, and those who don't want to jump on board are going to be caught, behind, just like my mom. So sorry. Sorry. Yeah, I told her to buy it 72,000. She didn't buy. And now every day I remind her how much it is. I send her messages every day.
A quick screenshot.
I'm talking to Ob, by the way. Yeah. Ob was talking to his dad. He's like, Apple's looking nice. I was like, you want to use your mic, Ob? Because you got one right there, my man. And then we'll bring you in Looney Tunes style.
Yeah, sure.
There he is.
Okay, so no. What I was saying basically was like, yeah, no, that's a similar sentiment in my household where, got some Apple for my dad as well in his portfolio, and he was just looking at it. And he's like, oh, Apple's looking nice, and I was like, yeah, it's looking all right. And then I had some crypto related tickers as well, and he's like, oh, what's going on over there? I'm like, look at Bitcoin. And he's like, yeah, the last time I checked it, it was at like 35, 40K or something. Mm-hmm. And I was like, look, check again.
What did he say?
He saw it at 100.
Was he mad?
He saw it at 100, and then he just looks at me, and then he says no words. He just looks down, and I'm like, I told you, I'm like, you're looking to invest into real estate, whatever, but you're looking for shorter term wins. I've been talking about you guys investing in Bitcoin since I was 20 years old. I remember me and my best friend, we were talking about Bitcoin in high school. We were like, yo, this is some next level stuff. Like this is going to change the world. It was like $6-7 trading at that time. And we were like, we should probably grab some of this. Like this thing has moved up from like $1 like crazy. Like we need to buy this. This is going to go to like $10-15. And now it's at 106,000. So it's been quite a while, quite a ride.
I'm not going to pretend like I saw it at $1, Ob. But I remember in 2013, my buddies bringing this to my attention, and I think it was like $1,300 at the time, and I was like, what is this nonsense? I'm not paying $1,300 for this. I got to tell you, I wasn't sold on it, and I started becoming incrementally sold just based on the price action. Because again, there's no real value other than what the next person is willing to pay for.
Exactly. So this is another thing that I was saying. He was just like, oh, but I don't understand Bitcoin. I'm like, listen, you don't have to understand the asset. Half the tickers that I trade, I don't even know what they do, right? And nor do I care. Nope. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the Bitcoin chart, the historical Bitcoin chart, it starts off in the pennies. It is a beautiful representation of supply and demand mechanics over the years and how an asset can fluctuate as the demand over years just continues to rise up, right? Sure, the volatility is increased. We get 50, 60, 70% pullback sometimes, right? But overall, stonks only go up.
Math though, year over year, 60%.
Yeah.
Year over year. Now, obviously, you're not getting 60% pump every year. You're getting shellacked.
No.
Some years 60%
but you have to
down
believe.
when you average it out.
You have to believe. You really like it? I mean, it clearly has a demand. It's had a demand since sub-dollars. It's trading at 106. How much more do you need to believe?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
How much more do we need to see?
Yeah.
Does it need to go to 1 million for us to believe?
Yes.
Like, to me, I'm done.
Sharif, you heard it here first. When it gets to 1 million,
man,
Sharif.
That's crazy.
Sharif, when it gets to 1 million, we'll be looking back at this day and be like, oh yeah, remember when it was 100K? Because there are literally people looking back and being like, remember the first time that it hit 100 and that was a milestone. That was iconic, right?
I couldn't agree more, bro.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
We'll
see.
I mean, it's crazy too to think like people are kind of writing this thing off after 2 days of selling. Like you're just eliminating all what it's done in the past month and a half, and now it has 2 red days. The thing's garbage. Like come on.
Look at Big Smile. Look what Big Smile wrote, bro. Big Smile.
Yeah,
I've had it with your parents, bro.
But I mean,
look what he wrote. Sharif, Obi, Joe. Many people believe in Santa Claus also until no presents magically show up under the tree. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, but what do you mean no
showed up.
presence?
There.
This thing. What do you mean no presence? This thing has been delivering year after year. It's 100K. It went from essentially nothing to 100,000. That's 10 years of nothing but delivery. That's all it's done. Why are you going to argue? Who cares? Eliminate the fact that it's an encrypted currency or Bitcoin. If it was a stock, everybody would be buying this stock. Who cares what the underlying asset is? It just makes money. That's what it does. It prints money. It doesn't matter what. Yeah, it doesn't matter what the asset class is. Okay, you may not believe in it. That's totally fine. But if 99% of the world does, then your opinion is essentially irrelevant. Until it comes in masses that people stop believing in this thing, it's going to continue to do what it's doing. Now you have institutions getting involved. Canada had that ETF. Australia has an ETF. The States came out with the ETF earlier in the year. What more do you need? Like, people love this thing. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. Everybody else like it, and the big money likes it.
Yeah, and like, look, you don't have to invest in it if your own, prerogative will not allow you to do that. If you have rules, whatever, don't get involved. Don't get involved. But you can watch from the sideline while we print.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to everyone.
Yeah.
What's this individual's name? Vin Duong. How many BTC does Sharif have? 0, my man. I only own IBIT. I'm in it through the ETF. I'm lamenting not having bought the coin. I was trying to persuade my parents to buy it at 20,000 in 21. They didn't buy it, or 22, whatever it was. They didn't buy it. I mean, I didn't have enough disposable cash at the time to be able to do that. That's my problem. Right now, I'm trying to make up, obviously, for lost time, and I'm at a way higher price. So it'll be my risk that I'm taking on there. Let's see what other people are saying in the chat. I'm loving how everybody is kind of chiming in on this. I do love the dialogue, and we're never all going to agree on one thing, but that's what I love. Let's just be, kind of understanding of one another's opinion. Let's see what else people are looking at there. 99% of the world doesn't own BTC, says Kanye East. You're not wrong, my man.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. But I'm not worried about the 99% of people. I'm worried about the people with the most money accumulating it. I'm talking about the
got people going
the
there,
bigger
right
hedge
there
funds,
brand,
sovereign wealth.
yeah.
Joseph, we haven't even heard about the Saudis, what's it called, public investment fund, picking some up, the Qataris, the Emiratis, the big, what are they called, money bags out in the Middle East. You know what I mean? And we already know that it's Donald Trump's intention, whether he does this or not, entirely different story. His intention to build a reserve fund in the same way that they have an oil reserve, which they buy and they used. Biden was using it to bring down oil prices, whether that helped or not, an entirely different story. He was using the oil reserve, so then he was buying at 67, 65. So we know that this is a fact, right? So
again, like, I don't know. Brian, we don't need a rant segment from me. I had a headache after that one there. But I mean, hey, it doesn't matter, guys. Like, again, it's 2 bad days. We went on this monster run. We've seen how much we're up year to date. Like, again, just relax. I think it's totally fine. As Sharif mentioned, like, if that reserve starts, then it's just going to kind of create that ripple effect. Everybody's going to get more involved in this. As you've seen, the ETFs are coming out. Now all these major funds are like, hey, you should probably allocate about 1 to 2% of your portfolio just to have a little bit of exposure to this. Yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's BTC. That's fantastic. Like, again, we may not have a specific use case for it yet, but again, something can arise where it's like, we can break this down into Satoshis to the millionth, and then, hey, okay, now we're going to start using this as a method of payment. Right?
Even if it's not used as a method, I don't even think that has to be the only use, Joseph.
No.
I think it's just a store of value. Nobody's out there, buying and selling gold, interchangeably between each other. You hold on to your gold. My parents have gold. Alfred's parents have gold. They hold on to the gold and they'll sell it to them. I get gold has a use. You make jewelry out of it. There's other industrial components as well that you can make from gold. I get that, but I don't think that's the limiting factor. Anyway, everybody has a different opinion. Have at it, baby. Guys, we're doing really, really well here on TNXP. Finally, we're breaking those highs. We're taking the prints at the high of the day. Now I'm waiting at 55. 54s just showed up on the ask. I'm waiting next. Beak wetter at 55s. This one's really squeezing now, taking out the top. Guys, I told you, wait for the break of that pre-market high, then get in. I followed my rules today. I didn't breach my rules. We're doing well on it. We're looking at taking out 55s here. It's up 46%, and it's not even looking back at that 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So we're going to look to take out some more. I still have 4 more outs on this bad boy here, so we'll look to take it out. If it works up into the 60s, I'd be pleased as dang punch, but we'll have to wait there. 54.5 now showing up on the ask. Let's see if we're able to work our way into 55s. Very close, 3/4, 4/5. Come on. It feels like grade 5 math class with fractions again. Let's go, baby. Where are my 55s at? They're showing up 98s now. Aw, no 55 print. That's okay. We'll wait. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Love how you guys are chiming in today, man. I love the participation. Keep it active and keep it friendly. Let's see what Harry Lou over here is saying. Obi, Sharif, Joe, you guys are young. I'm not. And have not lived through severe demand destruction yet. Really? If you are short-term traders, sorry, it's just moving. If you are short-term traders, you don't care. Your parents are likely investors, not the same. You're absolutely right, my man. And I didn't say, hey, Dad, throw in everything you got into Bitcoin. I literally word for word, I said to him, put 1% of your portfolio into Bitcoin. He wouldn't even do that. My mom is the one that wouldn't let the whole thing go through, right? 1%, I said, just to wet your beak. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. And I guess it's not our job to get it, I don't think either. It's not
it's not. We don't have the same thing.
We don't have to be Michael Saylor and try to convince everybody to.
No, and excuse me, I lived through the dot-com bubble. I was in high school, going on to university when the dot-com bubble popped. Well, I was still in high school. And I lived through the great financial crisis. I was articling in law school when the great financial crisis happened. And articling is an internship, in case you guys are wondering what the hell that is. And there were no jobs. The law firms here on Bay Street, which is like our version of Wall Street, were hiring 100 trainees. The next year, they interviewed 100 for 10 positions. I've lived through crap. Trust me. So, it's not, trust me, bro. So it's not like I'm like a noob. No, I've lived through some stuff. I haven't lived through the depression or anything. I'm not.
Yeah. I'm not that young. Like, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I was born in '92, man. Come on. Give me some credit.
Sharif was around during the Great War.
That's crazy.
Yes, baby.
That's crazy.
I just came back in a different form. That's kind of did.
That's World War I, bro.
I didn't know you were so old, Matthew Horton. Yeah, brother, I'm 42, turning 43 next May, baby.
Damn.
That's, yeah. Dang. Old AF.
Dang.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Time doesn't stop for anybody, though, folks. We're all
We're having a good time, though.
Yeah,
man.
we're having a good time here.
He lived through the Bosnian War, your Joker, Tron, and on. I've seen a lot of people that don't usually chiming in, and that means I'm doing something right.
Bro, when you start getting called Unc, then that's when just like quick story before we start talking more stocks here. So me and my cousins and I, during Caravana weekend, we would sell beers kind of in our cooler and stuff, and that's what I would say to all the older heads. I'd be like, yo, uncle, come and grab them. So, yeah. So good That's
a good saying around here, man. Yeah. What else we got? Ike release. Sharif got old man hands. I know I got old man hands. That's why I use the resting profit takers, because I can't hang, bro. Shout out to you.
Spy. There's no doubt about that one, Kyle. It looks like we're a little bit in the money on this one, folks. Only 3 cents. Let's see what we jocked down here. 587.94. Oh, is that right? Oh, we got 50 cents until we hit our 2-to-1 profit target, I think, for the first time ever, folks. So, 58, 587.94 is our entry. So let's see, if we do go a little bit above VWAP, that's a 2-to-1. That's going to be an absolute banger for our Playmaker poll on that front, guys. Absolutely fantastic. I want to mention one thing before I send it off to you, Sharif, and I mentioned this earlier in the session. The top performing sector of the day is, and still, the utility sector, XLU trading really well, breaking up from this resistance level 75, now trading up to 75.96. It was at 75 halves, now trading to 75.96. So again, go and look at those top performing sectors if you're looking for longs, guys, and the longs aren't working for you. Go and just dive a little bit deeper and see what is performing the best. And sure enough, on the session so far, Sharif, XLU, top performer.
Yes, sir. Harry Lou bringing up a good point. He's like, look, bro, it's different having skin in the game during demand destruction than being an observer. But I was invested during the GFC. I wasn't invested, to be fair, during the dot-com bubble. I was still an observer at that time, albeit. But I was totally invested during the GFC. And, you know, obviously I had to deal with what came. We handled the great financial crisis a lot better in this country than you guys did in the South, only because our banks weren't allowed to be as levered as your banks were. But I think you guys have rectified that, so I don't think that that's going to happen again. Oh, I don't know, maybe it does. But yeah, we definitely handled it a lot better. Our real estate wasn't destroyed, decimated like yours. We didn't really, I don't know, I didn't feel it that much, but the employment industry was really, was quite bad. So it was hard to get a job during those times, but people didn't really lose a whole lot in terms of value in their home. If you had Canadian stocks, you were okay. Obviously, if you had American exposure like I did during the GFC, you got shellacked, and I was shellacked, and it didn't recover until I think 13 or 14, until I was break even on my position, Harry. So I get what you're saying, brother. Everything you're saying is right, but you know, don't discount our experience just because, you know. I was going to say something, but I'm not going to say it anymore. RC, so old. Sharif's so old, he was around when Jesus was trading rocks.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
And wild. Kanye East is like, Jesus. Sharif tried to get Jesus to buy Bitcoin. Leave Jesus out of this, man.
Yeah,
mentioning Jesus.
Jesus himself.
Bilan Wood, everybody in the chat, I need y'all to understand Uncle Riff Sharif puts his money where his stash is. Oh, that's dope, bro. We're going to put we'll drop the cash for you right there. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I love the comments today. Big Smile, $5 super chat. Following the GFC, I started getting scam emails from an Egyptian prince. Joker. Was that you, bro? Trying to get back in the money? You're hilarious, bro. That's a Nigerian prince. Don't twist it around, man.
That's crazy.
You know that's not how it works. Shout out to Big Smile, man. That was hilarious. You guys are jokers. You guys are killing me today.
Yeah. And we're going to stop talking about Bitcoin. I'm just going to say one last thing. I think it's a generational thing, too, right?
I agree.
Right? So, again, it's a new wave of individuals and investors. So there's going to be those new and emerging asset classes, and that's it. We're done ranting about Bitcoin for now, but we are around $98,000. Sharif. But I do think, hey, let's take a look at NVDA here. Sure. We're running into some key support levels at 130, 150s here. Let's see if we break. We kind of are forming those lower highs. So again, let's see. We got that kind of wedge forming, a descending triangle, whatever you would like to call it. But again, key levels here. If we break this to the downside, then I think there's going to be potentially more room to go southeast. But as of right now, we're holding that support level, the volume weighted average price really well. So let's continue to monitor that. But let's take a look at this TSLA trade that's working out really nice for your boy here. Again, we caught that bottom really nice, just off of those same signals that I continuously say over and over again, those bottoming signals, those indecision candle prints, using and utilizing the volume price analysis, folks. It's been an absolute monster day, having a blast with you guys. Continue to let us know. Okay, stop trolling Uncle Sharif here, all right? It's time. We're on to the next thing. Unc is, we're over with that. But yeah, guys, continue to let us know what you're looking at in the chat. Sharif, do you see TNXP hit $1 today? Yeah, let's take a look there at TNXP hit $1. It's been a rocket ship, as some people here are referring to. Not pulling up the chart for me right now. Oh, okay, yeah. Did it hit $1? I see right now 50 cents. Did I type that in right? TNXP, yeah. To hit $1 today. Yeah, I don't know about that. The momentum is starting to slow down a little bit here, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I don't know about today, but maybe in the near future. I don't know too much about it. I like what Obi pointed out. The majority of these tickers that we just deal with price action. We don't know what they actually do. We have to read into that, but that is a pharmaceutical company. I don't trade too much biotech on that front unless it's seriously in play, and that's when we would trade the Pfizers and the Modernas and the Novavax and all those other ones, AstraZeneca or Veneca, whatever it was there. But yeah, those are now longer in play. If you buy 100K once the blended streets, I might buy it. Yeah, that's exactly it. There's nothing to be worried about. Like I don't understand why we're writing this thing off. It's two down days. Like it's not even down 10% or anything along those lines. So just we'll hold our horses, be patient. Again, this is going to be looking to an area where I might even potentially add. We'll wait for price to turn around, and then we're going to get a little bit bigger. I told Sharif what kind of size I'm looking to build up to, and I think we're going to get into that, all right? So, yeah, respect that for profit. Jolie put us on game. Yeah, I appreciate that for profit. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, just all the DMs on X. Yeah, you guys have really kind words, and it's really much appreciated. It goes a lot farther than you may seem. So, and it definitely doesn't go unnoticed. So I appreciate that as always. So, yeah, no, but it's true though, man. It's good stuff because again, Sharif and I love the internet. We think it's absolutely hilarious, but we do know that it can be an absolute cruel place at the same time.
Absolutely, bro. And we've been on the, well, I don't know. I don't think you have, but I've been on the bad side and some vitriol. I'm 2.5 years on this show.
Of course, you see it once in a while. But the positivity far outweighs the negativity, 100%. and just keep that because words can go a long way. And you don't know what kind of day somebody may be having, and then you say something kind, and then sure enough, it's just boom. You know what I mean? So,
and I love what Sam Dub. Shout out to you, Sam Dub. I'm gonna leave it here. Generational ? I'm 60 and I'm all in BTC. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's just gonna come down to your maybe how you. What your risk aversion, maybe,
for sure.
depending on your situation and stuff like that. So anyway, let's drop that one. Oh, guys, let's talk about TNXP because I was quite happy with how this was going, but I had a beak wetter here hanging out at 55s, and we did move up into 55s, but we didn't cross. Typical. We did dip right back down into the 10 exponential moving average, held it to a dang T, but now we are south of 50. Let's see if we're able to claim that 50 penny again. Okay, now we're moving into 51s. I'm gonna leave everything as is here on TNXP, looking for that break take of 55 pennies. I've got a few more outs on this. We're gonna de-risk a little bit over here. We're gonna take some out, my bad. We're gonna take some out just to de-risk a little bit. And I'm still involved very much in PSNL. Look, the volume has really dropped off, but the higher lows are still in play. So I was happy I didn't take this out at 450. It held 450 to the T, and 450 also happened to be the volume weighted average price. So now looking at it after the fact, I feel a little bit silly not having added at that 450 area, especially because I only have a couple of more outs on this. I could have added at 450 and kept a really tight stop, maybe 48s, 47s, and then had a lot more to show for at this level here coming into that $0.75. Nothing changes on how I approach this. Still leaving my outs at 88s on PSNL. But here we go. TNXP coming right back into the highs. Here comes 54s. Let's see if we're able to take out those 55s. We're going to still wait. 54s here on the ask. Are we able to take that out? 54 and a third. 55s incoming. Here we go. Come on. Again, we're selling at 55. So let's take out some here. There we go, and we'll move that. Now we're going to set up a little bit higher. I'm going to set up at 58s. Let's go. So we took out that 54.90, so essentially 55s. So let's go with TNXP up 48%. This big boy keeps going. Let's go 55s. There goes 55. Squeeze, baby, squeeze. I don't think Tisha Perkins is in the chat anymore, but she was trading up a storm with me this morning on the small cap gappers. They're in vogue, baby. Whether rates are coming down or, are going to come down as aggressively as we thought next year or not, the fact of the matter is I'm looking at my scanner right now, and there are 4 triple-digit winners up over 100%. So they're still going. Please this dang punch, as Adara likes to say. And yeah, we're going to look to do a little bit better on this if it keeps going. Over here, Nicholas Davis, nice stash, Sharif. Thank you. We appreciate you. You guys are doing a great job. We love you. Shout out to Nicholas Davis. Kind words from a man. What else we got up in here? Havana Woody, update update, Raider was talking about the PC on the SPY, expecting to move back up. That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Put call. Havana Woody misunderstood. No problems there, brother. We're not going to hold anything against you. I did look at PC, and it was bupkis. It didn't make any sense that Raider would even be looking at that, but just a look there. Ayo Lewis, just a few years older than Unc Sharif. Shout out to Ayo Lewis. Okay, so you're my generation, my man. I like it. Brandon Townsend. Sharif is a small cap sensei. Oh, no, I like that. Shout out to my man there. Who else we got? We got Sarah Bradette. Are you related to Big Spio Bradette? No, I know you guys spell it a little bit differently there. I know you're not related. Shout out to Grubs, $2 super chat. What do you guys think of Cam T? Say less, my friend. We'll load it up right now and have a look here at CAMT, Ram. Okay, so daily chart, a bit of a tougher look, obviously coming off that July high into 140, but we are in a very consolidative zone right now. Let's look at the weekly to see if this is forming a head and shoulders. Could be. Could be, but it also might not be. You'll have to get a break of $70. I think that confirms the head and shoulders formation. Now, you've got all the right ingredients for the head and shoulders. You got an uptrend preceding the formation. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Obviously, you can see patterns and things that maybe they're not actually doing, but you try to put the odds on your side. I always say that. So look, $70 ad here or into 75, I like it. You obviously have what seems to be either the formation of a right shoulder or an accumulation zone here on CAMT. You've got a low of 70 and a general high here of around 85. You know, at the highest here, it's 90. What is this stock? Camtech Limited, $3.9 billion market cap. What do? Israeli-based manufacturer of meteorology and inspection equipment and a provider of software solutions. Mainly serve advanced packaging, memory, complementary metal oxide semiconductors. Oh, so they are in the semiconductor image sensor, micro electronic mechanical sensors, radio frequencies. Okay, so they're a mid-end of the semiconductor industry. That's what it's saying here. So it's a semi-play. They're trading at a 37.85 PE. That's a little high. The industry standard there, 21.88. So they're trading at a bit of a premium relative to industry comparators.
Oh,
Pardon me.
No, sorry. I was just, never mind.
Sure?
Yeah, no, I don't know what's going on here. I think,
we can go back on the stream to see exactly what we said. That's a beautiful thing.
About what?
The entries.
No. We're golden, man. We're golden. Yeah, we're Ponyboy golden. We hit the yeah. We're Ponyboy golden here, man. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt. I was seeing something. I think there's like a test there. So, okay, yeah. So now it's gone. Yeah, that's okay. But here, guys, there it is. I documented it. Sorry to interrupt, Shreve. We'll send it right back to you. Trade number 10. We hit that 2-to-1 profit target. Absolutely beautiful. I clocked us at what time we were out. 138 is when the SPY hit 590 or whatever our profit target was, 589.94. Bang, we hit that one, the first 2-to-1 here. But again, we kept the losses small. And sure enough, look at that equity curve there. A thing of beauty there, Shreve.
All right. Yeah. I like it, my man. Yeah. Eli Mark, Cam T, semiconductor, but and hold for 2 years. So that's your take there from Eli Mark for the individual by the name of Grubs. But look, Ram chart, if we can, chart. So shout out to Fabian. So basically, what I'm trying to say is we look to be in a zone that we've been in before, Ram. Look at these 70 holds over here, Ram, and then we're right back at that 70. So accumulate towards the low end of the 70s, but be on the lookout for a 70 break and hold. Well, sorry, yeah, my bad. Cam T, chart. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. Cam T is what I'm talking about. So be on the lookout for a head and shoulder neckline break around $70 because you've got all the right ingredients for that head and shoulder formation because it was preceded by an uptrend. You had a bit of a wiffle waffle area over here, a bit of an area crest. We make a big boy area crest, and then we're kind of wiffling and waffling. There could be an accumulation zone, right? So just be on the lookout for that. Anything else I really don't know about the company, I couldn't help there. Here we go, baby, with TNXP. We about to take out 59s. We ain't going to wait for it. We're going to take it out at 58.5. And now we're going to set up at 60, I don't know. I'm going to go to 69. You guys know exactly where I'm going to sit on it. We're going to sit at 69s. That's about 10 pennies higher from where we're sitting, but whatever. What's life without whimsy? A good trading day today, good trading week. TNXP looking for that 69 break and take. We're in at 43s. This one still doing well here on PSNL. Really got away from that 50 penny area, now knocking the door of 80 pennies. I'm going to wait. Oh, 84s. Here we go. I'm waiting at 88s, baby. So let's move on up. If PSNL wants to get a bit of a volume spike, and by extension of that, fill me at 88s, I will be pleased as punch. Beautiful rounded bottom off the volume weighted average price. I can show you here on the 5-minute on PSNL. It does come into that VWAP area, and then look at this, nice rounding bottom. It did that before too, so it's nothing new. What it did over here, though, in the more liquid time of the day, was it bounced off more aggressively. When we got into that mid-hour, noon, late 12 o'clocks, it wasn't as forthcoming in how quickly it was bouncing, but you eventually got it. So we'll be on the lookout. Now, be on the lookout also if you're trading this for lower highs, because you have an area crest over here at 97, then you reject it at 88, and now you could reject a little bit lower. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. I'm still going to hold the last remaining I have left here. Joseph, what's your look?
Yeah, I just hopped out of all this TSLA, guys. A fantastic trade. We grabbed the bottom on that one. Very, very selective on this trade here. So again, nice little look there. We didn't quite have enough to bring us all the way through VWAP. Are we going to V-shape recovery? I don't know about that on this session, but the overall market is slowly starting to recover, so that's a positive signal. Tesla, again, just trading a little bit below the volume-weighted average price, continuing to slowly grind higher. From a volume by times profile standpoint, it is dwindling as we kind of increase in price, but that's totally fine. We like that type of recovery instead of it opposing that it was just selling. But again, this could be some stopping volume here at this point, and I think that was the case. So this just can be a cover program as well too, as we slowly continue to grind higher on Tesla. Now hovering a little bit below the volume weighted average price. I think it's going to need some momentum and that volume to continue to pick up in order for it to breach and then trade on top of it. But anything can happen. We are running into that 2 o'clock hour where the boys on Wall Street are coming back from lunch and looking to start some new programs. So we'll just sit on our hands and wait for that. Guys, continue to let us what you're looking at. Zcar. I know a lot of people have been going on about Zcar today, so let's take a look. I actually myself haven't even pulled it up. Zcar. Okay, yeah, no, embarrassing. Let me try this one more time here, folks. Zcar. Bang. There we go. Yeah, I mean, earlier in the day it was really nice, but as of right now, it's nothing to rave about. It seems extremely illiquid. If we zoom in here and bring on to the lower time frames, okay, this is just pure halts on this front again. So just kind of chopping around now. The volume has slowly stepped off here. So again, not something I would be necessarily looking to get involved in. No, it's all good. But yeah, let's take a look at the top performing sector here, folks. Slowly starting to pull in here. Let's see what this potential topping signal candle gives us. It's not overly isolated, and that's totally fine. I don't think that's something to expect kind of on XLU, and I don't think I've ever traded it in my life, but it is moving really well, the top performing sector on the session, putting in that inverted hammer or that gravestone, whatever you would like to call it, a hanging man, at the peak here. So let's see if we pull back and maybe come and test some of these resistance that are now support levels. So enjoying that one to the fullest there, guys. Let's see what the apparent chosen one, the king himself, yeah, NVDA holding those support levels that we marked out earlier on the session. Now breaking higher. We do have some key resistance levels that we need to keep an eye on. Other than that, Sharif, I think we're just going to chop around in this range until some volume steps in, and then we can kind of trade outside of those parameters.
Makes sense, sir. Okay. Yeah. Here we go.
Whoa, you got a face slapper there. Where's Obi? We need a face slapper. We need a hot.
He's taking a bit of a break.
Yeah,
he's been trading for a hot minute. He's beside us. He's journaling. He's trading. He was eating. His food was falling.
Was it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. Everything was fine.
It was chaotic.
It was chaotic. The Katina man is going to be peeved once he finds out what Obi was doing on his seat.
Oh.
We're going to let the Katina man know. No, seriously, though, guys, 60 pennies right now. TNXP, Ram. Rejecting that level. That is now the high of the day. I'm waiting at 69s, but this one, it doesn't look like it's slowing down. Just look at the tape speed and the book speed. Here we go, 60 pennies again. I'm going to let this one cook. Let's see if we can take out 60. We're eating up that size. Look at that size just get decimated at 60 pennies. So we're going to wait for that break. It looks like not forthcoming quite yet, but you took off a lot off the size that was posted on the exchanges there at 60 pennies. So TNXP still running up. But Joseph, we did a whole bunch of stuff today on the Meg. Apple absolutely respected the hell out of VWAP today. If you got long on Apple at 249.75, good on you. You got $1 plus out of that. Apple above the volume weighted average price, looking at possibly taking that 251. So AAPL up 1.12. NVIDIA also straddling VWAP. Not sure what's going on here, but you really, like, I mean, none of the closing prints here on NVDA are actually lower than VWAP. You get a wick or two below the volume weighted average price, but it looks like you're caught in a bit of a consolidation zone now. 131.5 to the low side, about 132.25 to 132.5 to the high side here on NVDA, up 2.5% and holding VWAP. The Cybertruck as well. What a recovery off the lows there, 420.02. Who would have been able to know that? That the 420 was going to be the level. It is 420.02 the level now. This is at 436, 437. Kind of a double top there at 40.37 and change. VWAP 439.5. Yesterday's closing print on Tesla, 440. So that will be a key area of resistance in my humble submission on Tesla if we're able to continue to ascend from the current price action. You got VWAP, you got the yesterday closing print about 20, 30 pennies off each other. Keep your eye out on Tesla. A nice recovery, but still below VWAP. But we do now a very special guest, two people that you wouldn't expect out in this time, Brendo at the big desk.
All right, thanks, guys. Yeah, we're talking crypto this afternoon. This was the news release today. We got some news yesterday as well from Belgrave Hartford Capital announcing that they've appointed President and CTO Dr. Victor Cook to NodeVest, which is a crypto-focused subsidiary of BLGV. So if you're looking for a ticker for this, BLGV, listed on the CSE here in Toronto. And then we get this today, the company announcing plans of an initial investment into Sway through NodeVest IO Incorporated. As mentioned, Dr. Cook joining us this afternoon, PhD, to give us some insight not only on where we're at with this crazy crypto run at this point. Dr. Cook, good to see you and welcome this afternoon. Let's start high level here. From a platform standpoint, how would you compare the others in this group with what we've seen to Bitcoin? And what's it going to take to maybe see a little more participation, as we've seen with Bitcoin throughout this year and of late, where the others have caught up maybe in the past month or so, but the participation definitely has been different?
Yes, absolutely. There's a metric for that. It's called Bitcoin dominance. And so that does fluctuate. The Bitcoin dominance goes up, means Bitcoin's doing better than all the other coins. Bitcoin dominance goes down, then the other coins are catching up, often called altcoin season. And so the thing to remember, though, is that the two are very different in their kind of investment function. Bitcoin has been called digital gold. That's accurate. The others are all competing to automate and bring onto the blockchain the financial system of the world. And so they're really two different kind of sectors, if you will.
We're going to get into the opportunity, I guess, of staking here and maybe explain a little bit about what that means for the viewers overall. But what's it going to take really for the mainstream or bigger institutional type participation in the staking side of the crypto market?
Yes, staking is the putting online or the putting onto the blockchain of a quantity of money that will secure the transactions on that blockchain. So in a sense, you are the insurer. You're putting your stake there to guarantee that the transactions on that blockchain are fair and processed according to the rules.
So from that standpoint, when someone would maybe look at a node vest, for example, in such a volatile market where there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of regulatory question marks, I guess is the best way to put it still, what would you say to investors that are still kind of on the sidelines? I mean, not necessarily from a Bitcoin standpoint, but from a staking process in general. If someone's looking for an opportunity, what would you say to those investors to give them a little more confidence?
Well, NodeVest has the investment thesis that the financial services will move to blockchain. So if you believe that, then you're looking for ways to take advantage of that transition that's going to be very lucrative. Regulatory has certainly been a headwind over the past few years, and that seems to be changing. No matter what happens, NodeVest will maintain investor confidence with public company transparency and carefully articulated positions. So we'll make some good calls, we'll make some bad calls, but they will all be well reasoned.
And the confidence coming from Belgravia Hartford, with this investment into NodeVest, from the crypto space in general, what does that in itself say? And talk a little bit about the process of this staking opportunity with Sway, particular that we learned about this morning.
Sure. Yeah, Sway is an up and coming chain doing millions of dollars in transactions every day. They've got over $1 billion staked. We've selected them as our first investment. And they're not going to be our only one. We'll have a portfolio and manage our risk that way. Belgravia is the public vehicle, and as such, they're a pioneer in the space after MicroStrategy and a few others. One of the differences between our approach and theirs is that they're kind of single coin companies, whereas we're going after a more of a mutual fund approach.
Looking forward then, for anyone looking for opportunity going into 2025, anything else you want to share with the viewers this afternoon? Again, BLGV, guys, here on the CSE.
Yes, absolutely. We're putting in checks and balances, automation, all the tools that we have, data analytics, personal contacts with the chain founders, AI, ecosystem models, macro signals. We're starting up here with no baggage and lots of opportunities. So I think we can make some money all together.
Great stuff. I mean, it's an exciting time, obviously. Lots of opportunity, lots of people focused on Bitcoin specifically, but always interesting to spread our wings a little bit and learn a little bit about other opportunities in the space itself. Dr. Victor Cook, President and CTO, appointed yesterday. Congratulations, by the way. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
I mean, it was great to have a Bitcoin guest on after that
after that heated exchange
that we had there with Bitcoin. Joseph,
I was buzzing there. I got a little riled up there.
Oh, whatever, man. Illicit emotions, that's the best part. Guys, we're about to take out 69s here on TNXP, and there it is. Bang! We got 69s. Pumped about this trade. What happened?
The bangs are loud.
Yeah, because I told Ram to put up the volume because of we couldn't hear the guest. Yeah, I'm done with that TNXP trade. I'm really happy. I packed my patience on this one. Good move up, 87%, Joseph. What a rocket ship TNXP is. And typically I don't trade these, but somebody in the chat did suggest it to that person. Thank you, because I typically don't look at these sub 85 penny stocks. And the reason I have 85 pennies as kind of my limit is it was Neil's idea, actually, because I had it at $1. He's like, look, man, it's a different trade, north and south of $1. Put it a little bit below that $1 so you can have notice of it as it works its way into that $1. That's the whole thing behind 80 or 85 pennies. But look at TNXP go, baby. The volume coming in aggressively right now. Here comes 72 pennies. So we took it out at the wrong level. True to form, Joseph. That's the way it is. So we're going to go.
No, bro. You can't do that when you've been in a trade since essentially 11. You can't. That's not a pay pan.
We got a few more minutes left on the show, guys. Let's see how this poll is doing. We had a lot of tickers today we could look at. No shortage here. Bitcoin getting some love, 33%. It's going to make it on there. The dead one only is 17% today, but Tesla getting a lot of love. True to form there, 43% of you guys voting in for Tesla. Yeah, and it's been a tough day, obviously, for Tesla, but we will talk about things, whether they're having a tough day or a good day. Such is the case here. Shout out to Harry. I'm not sure you're going to be able to convince your parents to invest. Brother, that ship has sailed. I am now no longer worried about what they're doing. I'm just going to do it. It wasn't for me, Harry. I was trying to tell them to wet their beak a little bit, you know. It's not like, yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at the other one over here that I've... Say that again, Ope? You got to do, Ope's like, look, you got to do you at the end of the day. Don't worry too much about what your parents are doing. Sure. Elon, thank you, bro. Sharif, not shorting MU. Now it's pumping. Shout out to my man, Elon. He's been telling about Micron for a hot minute. Let's have a look at Micron here as we wind down the show. Did it take out that 50 exponential? No, it still has it. It's still dancing with the 50. Okay, so you cannot convince me that an algo is not basing today off the 50. I mean, you had once, twice. You guys want to know I'm going to go with this. Obi dang thrice, right back into 87. It looks like you were long in the mid 85s there, Elon, because looks like you're doing well. 3 candle move up into the VWAP, into the 50 exponential, $87 right now on Micron. Down though, guys, 16.1%. Joseph, any final thoughts as we wind?
Yeah. Actually, just to add to Obi's points, and I said that to some of the friends here last weekend. There's one thing that you can do better than everybody else. You know what that is, Sharif?
What's that?
Be yourself.
Couldn't agree more.
That's it. That's my final thought of the day. Yeah. Why is that? I don't get. Why is that so funny, man? It's true. Yeah. It's true. It's the best thing. It's one thing you can do better. Yeah, exactly. But guys, look.
Challenge.
Realize. But yeah, guys, listen. Take this in. Take this in. Yeah, but yeah, that's wild. Okay, this isn't the streets of Toronto. Take this in. Okay, guys, yeah, NVDA broke the resistance level here. Moving really nice, going back to the top side. Do we go and test that high a day? That's totally in contention here, guys. And let's take a look here at Tesla one final time before we send it off to the boys to the right of us and see what's going on.
Spiking. Yeah, the market's pumping.
Yeah, that's what we said. So too bad we got out of our SPY trade a little early. No, it's a 2-to-1. We get out at whatever target, it doesn't matter. But it's starting to turn things around, guys. Looking really, really nice here, Sharif. What do you got for the last couple seconds here?
I finally got my fill at 88. Shout out to CD Land, baby. There we go. PSNL. We take out that last peak wetter at 88s. I packed my patience. The only mistake I think I made here was not adding on the retracement in the VWAP, especially because VWAP and that 50 penny area were one and the same, and you didn't have a breach of that 50. That's a mistake by me, an oversight by me. Look to do better next time, but it is now 2 o'clock, Ram. So we're going to throw it off to the big boys. Take it over, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Wow.
Welcome back, everybody. And I love that quote from Joe. You know, there's one thing you could do better than everyone else, and that's be yourself.
Of course. It's the best thing you can do.
What if you could be somebody else just as effectively? I could throw a few old boys in there. Maybe